I told you, stay here. I wasn't joking. Ads are over already. And we're back here on the analyst desk for the second game. Jasmine T versus froyotech. CommanderX, your thoughts?
I am excited to see some Australians play TF2. I think they're going to play more aggressive than a lot of the other teams at this event, and it's going to be interesting to see how that stacks up against the more reserved passive styles.
And what do you think these opening results mean, WARHURYEAH? Can we take anything from the fact that Froyo only managed to get a draw? Are they going to be coming to this game downtrodden?
No, as I was saying earlier, it's just going to be a test of like people just feeling each other's teams out, finding out what their sort of plan is, how they play, what their play style is. I would hope that froyotech would actually start changing it up in the knockout stages, because I think everybody might be aware that Paddy will jump in solo, and that isn't a good strategy to have.
They might be saving it, saving the big plays.
However, Jasmine T now, after the first game that they played and they win it, there's a good chance that they can use the momentum from that. As I was mentioned previously before the break, how they had a bit of a poor boot camp, not the best environment, mainly because it's freezing compared to Australia and it's not upside down. But Yui, doing the amount, like honestly, right, I don't know if we may not bring up the logs, but he had 37 frags. The next person to him on his team was Paulson with 16. Like, that is, he is literally a cashew, because that is nutty.
That's pretty insane.
But yeah, that, like, to be honest, that sort of performance is just absolutely ridiculous, and that is the performance that you'd want from your best players at LAN. If he's able to do this every single game, I will probably eat a well-cooked steak. But
can he do it against the big dogs though?
Against
Smash NX, they're like a mixed team, right? Sure, they got sponsored, whatever.
Yeah, I think.
It's against Stefan though.
Yeah, they've got good scout duos apart from Funds, but he's Welsh, so he's at a disadvantage. So, to be honest, I mean, Zenix aren't exactly a massive joke. I mean, they are pretty much the masters of tilt, as I was saying. Like, they do have the players that will literally just throw all sorts of leads. But to get those sort of frags against one team on Granary, it's nasty. Like, teams should be worried.
Do we know what the map is here in round 2 production? Anyone?
Vanguard.
Vanguard?
Yeah, they're actually just playing on the matchmaking servers. That's why there was a big delay, because it took about 2 hours for them to get.
Yeah, it was a big coincidence that finally came round in our favour.
But it's process, but this could even be better for Yui. That's a more scout-friendly map.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how, like, you know, how they match up. I'm excited to see Banny against Yui.
Like, in my research yesterday, where I just harassed players all day and tried to ply them with alcohol.
And kiss them.
The gist of what I heard was that the Australians had been trying to play a super aggressive style. Now they're trying to tone it back a little bit. Is Process a map that's going to be more favourable for that kind of strategy compared to Granary? Like, less choky? Or is it... Process is kind of open but equally choky, like it's very easy to control from mid to second.
Yeah, I think there's certainly more routes, but in the same way, not quite as easily as Granary. You can still shut them all down if you have 6 people up. But if Jasmine T can get those early picks and keep them off kilter, stop froyotech being 6 men. Like, Banny loves playing with all 6 men alive. That's his ideal state. You will often see him not push until they have 6, because he wants that complete array, the complete artillery. And if Jasmine T can just not allow that to happen a lot, it's going to put them on edge. It's going to move them out of their comfort zone.
So they should try and get in Banny's face. Don't let him get his pieces set up on the board. Just try and get in there and create a bit of chaos.
Keep it chaotic, and I think
Jasmine T. we're the coaches here now. I know you guys didn't bring a coach. That's something I'd love to talk about. Maybe we'll wait for a Crowns game. Coach Cadis, what the hell? But
what would Valve say?
What would Valve say?
They would say,
take a leap from
no,
Facebook.
That's what.
Oh.
I'm curious. Like, the real burning issue here is that we've got froyotech against Jasmine T. Both teams have, like, arguably the most handsome gamers in TLR and Paulson. You know, who would win an arm wrestling in that fucking gun show? Pardon my language.
He gets a bit excitable when we talk about biceps.
I love men.
TLR.
Easy?
Yeah. No doubt.
You love the horsepower?
He has got all the horsepower.
There's only one way to, really settle this. I think we could just swipe these laptops off the analyst desk. We'll get Paulson and Tyler to duke it out.
Well, I mean, I think, what was it, I58, it was a battle between Kyler and TLR on bench pressing me.
Oh, yeah.
And Kyler won that quite convincingly. But TLR, I'd have to say, won my heart on when he touched my sphincter mistakenly. It was a moment for me that felt precious. He hasn't accepted my Steam invite. I'm still waiting 2 years later.
Does Paulson know the protocol, that's the way to your heart?
Mate, just you wait. It's only day 1. There's still plenty of days left. I'm just waiting for the perfect moment. I've been hanging outside those toilets, waiting for him to slip in by himself, and then I can pounce. So, fancy meeting you here.
Okay, then. I'm going to go straight in. Predictions, guys. Who is going to win this super important group stage game between froyotech and Jasmine T? WARHURYEAH.
It's going to, like,
you have to be a scoreline too. I don't just want to know who's going to win the map.
Like, process is going to be, like, it's a very open map. It's sniper friendly as well. I mean, it's going to be difficult, I feel, for Froyo to have their 6 players up because there is a lot of sort of open areas. If Yui goes insane, like he has been, well, based on the one map, so if he continues that,
that hot streak of 1.
That hot streak of 1 game, then I would have to say Jasmine T.
Jasmine T, take out 2-time champions, froyotech. Do you agree with that, CX?
I think I do, actually. Like, I'm feeling like 3-1, 3-2 Jasmine. Like, the way if Yui can keep that form up, that big hot 1 streak, double it, like, he's just going to pull them apart. He's got more room to work with on process, and I fancy their chances. Froyo did not impress me, really, in that granary game.
I fancy Paulson.
What are you going to offer up as a scoreline then, Zappy?
3-1 or 3-2. 3-1 if you have to gun to my head.
I'm going to show my true colours. I'm going to do my autism test in Twitch chat. I'm a Banny sub. I'm going to throw my weight in behind froyotech, and I am going to say that Froyo will take it in a tight, super tight 2-1 game. Not because I actually saw much of that last game, but just want to create a little bit of a rivalry here at the analyst desk. Oh. I love you, Banny. And going back to what War was saying, he did mention the sniper options on process. Is there actually a sniper on froyotech? Does Banny allow those sort of off-class shenanigans?
Free state, I don't use it a lot, but if there is a guide to go, it is free state.
Yeah, the thing is with even old froyotech, they never really like even bothered with snipers most of the time. They pretty much just ran a standard setup, and they would, like, rarely on last would they sort of pull out an engineer. They'd only do it if it's sort of like the dying moments and they really sort of want to push a team back. So yeah, that part will be quite interesting. I mean, I'm not 100% sure on Jasmine T because I just keep on getting caught in Paulson's gaze. But
the tractor memes.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just going to be very, very interesting to see how both teams, what their default setup is. I mean, it's not comfortably spanked, so you're not going to get a Machina sniper.
Why do you always hate uncomfortably spanked, man? I was catching this at the hotel, watching the warm-up, and I was like, why is WARHURYEAH just poking holes and comfortably spanked? I think
I'm
they're my
team. I'm deflecting the hate from me, trying to sort of like distract it and put it onto someone else. But yeah, I think comfortably spanked, even though we're just sort of going off a bit. They could get a few maps on people. Just put Denny on sniper, make everybody get mad.
Yeah, like he showed at DreamHack Summer. Yeah. He's probably the best sniper at this event.
Especially hitting bodies.
Yep.
Maybe is it that he's the best though? Like, I'd like to see a percentage of success rate. He does play it a lot.
I think he is the best. I think the consistency he has for how much he runs it is actually really impressive. I think only Stark can really rival him. But I don't think anyone on Jasmine or froyotech really have a sniper of the same caliber.
Yeah, I guess so. They might feel a little bit more comfortable because it's hopefully on land for the next games. So that will sort of definitely be something that they'll both explore. But I think it'll be less likely from froyotech. I'm
curious about the granary performance from froyotech. Like, they struggle to get rounds. you feel like they were holding back, or they just didn't have the answers to break the defense, or just they weren't prepared to commit them more than that one player?
I do find it's a bit strange as to why they didn't, because you're pushing into someone's last. Like, the worst thing that's really going to happen is that you're not going to cap last. And just having Paddy going in by himself and have that so easily read is like very, very predictable. And again, you can see it as from the logs is that he just got slammed every time. They should do something. This is kicking it very old school, but they should do the whole classic Dignitas thing where they would send everybody apart from the combo to defend second. You know, just try and do something a little bit different. I mean, they held him all the way down to like the couple of minutes. Just try and go for something. If these games don't mean anything to anyone, you might as well go for the win instead of the draw.
Like I heard in the Banny interview that he's very much aware of the EU rules, that, you know, the threat of the clock. Do you think we're going to see another slow, controlled performance from them on Process CX?
I think they'll try to sort of try it as a hard counter to Jasmine T's aggressive style, but I'm not sure how effective it will be on Process.
And do you think, like we did talk, you reckon that the best option for Jasmine T is just to try and get a little bit crazy, try and pull out the big gimmicks?
The key is, if Muma can die, he can kill the immortal Muma. He can beat froyotech.
Well, he died 3 times last map.
4 for only 2 deaths as well. It's going to be tough to crack that combo.
The thing is, I think it's different with Granary though. If you're not getting caught out on like middles, as soon as you kind of go into second, you're not guaranteed safety, but it's a little bit easier because soldiers can't really close the gap as easily. The only time they can really do that is on mids and yards. So if you're anywhere else, you're pretty much going to be fine unless you walk into walls like Skeege does.
Soldiers have a lot more options on Process as well.
Yeah.
We've already talked about the soldiers like Geo and Zaka and Paddy and
It's very, very open. It's sort of a lot more unforgiving. And the flank routes are a lot shorter as well. Being able to cut in through IT will be able to close that gap a little bit easier for scouts as well. So you'll be able to probably see a little bit more scouts going aggressive and chasing medics down. So I expect to see that a lot. And even on Last is still quite open. Spawns are a little bit too defensively positioned, so they can obviously just fall back into there. But the initial part, I'd expect you would see a lot more forward aggression if the teams do decide to go for it. Hopefully they will.
Prepare for the most stalematy game of the land so far, then.
Yeah.
Let me
well, Crowns isn't playing.
Ask you then, nerding out a little bit on the soldier side of thing. Yesterday, people were suggested that TLR is a fan of the shotgun. I didn't see what he was rocking in the Granary game, but
shotgun.
Is he still going to use that on Process, or will he go for the double gunboats? Do we have any intel on that?
I think it would be what you're comfortable with. And TLR did show there was quite a few times where he won a 2v1 with the shotgun. So I'd imagine if he feels confident in it, he'll run it. If there's a point where he's actually being required to close gaps a little bit more, make space for his team by jumping forward and being more aggressive, maybe even assisting Paddy so he doesn't go in alone solo and die. That option is always there, but I reckon it might very well just... I would, in the perfect way, I would say he should at least run it for middles.
I think the transition of TLR is quite a peculiar one, because obviously back sort of i46 days, mix-up days, he was like the hard and fast pocket, you know, give him all the heals, give him all the Ubers, and just let him wreck people left, right and centre. Whereas now the medics have that movement speed when hitting scouts. Banny's basically playing as the pocket, which is odd. I'm not sure if I completely agree with it, especially in sort of equal Uber situations, having that sort of squishy scout going through. I feel like Tyler could be more involved in that, in the more standard Uber exchanges, because he's done it his entire TF2 career. He's really good at it, and I feel it's a bit of a waste. But it is interesting watching him play this sort of, not quite second roamer, but we saw hints of it on Granary, of him being further away from 404, letting Banny take the responsibility more. It'll be interesting to watch how that develops.
Yeah, it's quite, I feel, brave to do that as well, especially if you are actually running shotgun, because, you know, every time you jump you're going to obviously take more damage. So doing that and playing a sort of a roaming, well, a loose pocket role is something that's going to be very risky. I'm not 100% if it really paid off, because the game did end in a tie. But you know, it's on a more open map that isn't Granary. I reckon you'll probably be able to see if it works a little bit more for him and his team.
I think there is a danger because of the way Process is. Like in Granary, he can win a lot of those close 1v1s just because he's got an advantage through the terrain anyway and being a soldier. It will be interesting if he can match now on process when there's a lot more open routes outside of no sort of enclosed areas. And if he can still do the same thing, then great, then that could be a really useful asset for them. But it's definitely something teams can look to exploit.
I do feel like maybe they should... They can't really get away with, I think, throwing Paddy in solo again, as I was saying, because if you want in TLR to close the gap, there's quite a few, especially on second, where you probably have to do sort of... you just do a skip jump to close the space a little bit quicker. Doing one sort of rocket jump is going to be too slow. It's not going to get you that distance quick enough, and ultimately it's just going to be red a lot easier. With gunboats, you'll be able to close that gap quicker. You'll have more HP at the end of it, and you can actually sort of put more of an impact, I feel, and not die kind of instantly. But he is a better soldier than all of us.
Wow,
Speak for yourself.
Pretty good.
I mean, I did beat Shadowboom once on MG.
No one cares.
Is there any chance, like we're saying, we don't know if Jasmine T have a sniper? Is there any chance we're going to see, like that classic immunity sniper to mid strats?
I think it can work on process, because we saw like there was a phase after Sheep did it at I58. 5?
I58.
It was a while ago.
I50 previous, but yeah, because he just sits back, aims at anyone who goes up top, and just allows his team to take the high ground. It was a really effective strategy, and a lot of teams adopted it for a while on process. So it'll be interesting to see if they fancy that. But also, if Yui's just had the game he's had on Scout, leave him on Scout.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sheep did there was sort of a couple of really good moments on process last, where I think it might have been mix-up or froyotech that he pretty much individually just picked. I think he got about 4 or 5 frags. I was watching him from behind, and when I tried to kick his chair, like nothing really happened. It didn't seem to put him off. Even though he took his hand off the mouse, he was still firing and locking onto people, which I did think was a bit suspicious. But he did have his hand on the keyboard, so maybe he's got backup look binds on there. But yeah, it's gonna. The thing is that if you're running sniper, you literally have to find out whether or not you're going to go completely ham and actually fulfill the role that's needed. If you're going to sort of like go sniper and just not do anything, it depends. And
it's a very form-based thing.
Yeah, and as you said, Yui, if he's had such a sick game on Scout already, there's possibly no need to sort of move away from that.
If they want to play in this aggressive style as well, again, a sniper would sort of hinder that.
Yeah.
The only thing on the back of it is we saw in the previous game when froyotech played full tilt, is full tilt were very diligent in not overcommitting. Like Silentes and Mike would take the risk once Paddy goes down. They'd have a bit of an explore, they'd have a poke up top. But if Jasmine T want to try and play more aggressive, it could just play into froyotech's hands. They could just go, all right, we got the Roma, let's go all in, see what we can get done, and then froyotech can just punish them from that stronger defensive position. Yeah,
I do agree. It just depends on how easily it is read. Process, we don't have a map overview, which is a shame. But chokes are very, very, very open. So the only thing that you can really do is sit on Spy, if you will, like the team that wants to soak up that any sort of expected aggression. But the problem is that if the team then decides to sort of go together, you are giving them a lot of space and then access to your second point, which is not what you want to do. You want to sort of like avoid them, like just nip them in the bud, so to speak, and just sort of get them in the choke points, not let them through. And if they do sit in the choke points, then there's a chance that they'll just get pooped on, which isn't good because it smells.
That's a bad thing.
I'm going to put you in the spot, bud, because I know you've got this spreadsheet with all the map stats, the picks, the win rates, whatever. Do you have any intel at hand? Can we bring it up right now?
I think we might have it open, but with process, I don't think either team particularly played it. With a lot of Jasmine T's stats, because it was all domestic results, essentially, all it kind of showed you is Jasmine T were the best team in Australia, which they definitely are. But neither team particularly played process a lot. It was not particularly strong or weak map for either team, mixed results for both. So it's, again, I imagine we're going to see a very similar, very close game as the full tilt froyotech one. I mean, even what the Jasmine T Zenix team was still 1 round in it.
Yeah, but I think Jasmine T are going to take it 5-0.
Listen to this. Like, I found the spreadsheet, the entry here, just a break in the place. Cables all over the shop. But
go back to bed.
froyotech have played process twice. They've won once and lost once. I think those both against Ronin.
What tab are you on?
I don't know.
That's for general. That's overall any team from the league.
Yeah. So they have only got a 50% win rate on that, and that's the worst of all their win rates So the maps are obviously preset at this stage of the tournament. Maybe the TF2 gods are smiling on Jasmine T, because they're sitting here with a 66.6 repeating win rate. So, you know...
Don't forget, most of the teams in Australia are awful. So Jasmine T have a distinct advantage there.
But it's a mental thing, you know. It's like, hey, we win this map more often than we lose it. They're going in here feeling confident, whereas froyotech have ended up on, statistically speaking, sure, it's a small sample size of 2, but statistically speaking, their worst map, if you believe CX's research.
I am able to enter data.
Much more weighty than mine. The numbers have spoken. You guys are right. I'm sorry that I predicted froyotech were going to win. I'm an idiot. But I wonder, what is the status of the game production? Do we have any ETA?
The Australians decided to leave their desks. The audacity to do that when we are behind schedule is nerving.
Oh. I don't know if you guys can hear that on stream, but, you know, Paulson is currently indisposed.
Oh, that was my moment.
Everyone else is ready. WARHURYEAH has missed another opportunity.
Better luck tomorrow.
Like the actual sexual predator. But next time, War, next time. There's Coach Cadis walking past us right now. We'll definitely have to get him in for an interview and grill him on the whole coach situation. But I mean, neither of these teams are here with a coach. Is that fair? Have they missed out? Do they need a coach?
No, because their players are probably... No, they're not good, actually. Never mind.
They possess the unique ability to think for themselves,
yeah, that's
unlike
the
Crowns.
Yeah, they can sort of actually, you know, do what is required of them without Daddy telling them what to do.
Okay, Dad.
Am I the dad of this analyst desk?
Oh, as in, never mind.
Depends on who looks the oldest.
I look like a giant baby. Or a bowling ball. Pretty shiny today, guys. Should have moisturized. Apologies, Twitch chat. There are complimentary sunglasses going out to everyone to shield your eyes from the glare. But
we don't actually. The lights have actually been turned off, but everybody here is incredibly disgruntled because our stage light is just reflecting it at actually a higher power.
I mean, you're going to have to bear in mind that froyotech are sitting closer to us, and there's a chance they could be blinded by your head, Admirable.
I do have a pen, so if you want to colour it out, you can do so.
Can we get a hat? Like, what is a TF2 event without hats?
Well, I was saying that
go back to our roots.
we can just get you a hat, set it on fire, it'd be unusual.
That definitely would be the last ever TF2 event at an ice series.
Yeah, we would not be allowed back after that.
I just glancing over in the general direction of Rue. Also looking towards Jasmine T. Can't see any action right now, guys.
Can't see any of them, for starters.
So, can't really see much beyond this giant bright light in my face.
Gonna be tough with not all the players at their computers.
What other games are happening this round? I'm curious. You know, we've talked at length about Froyo, Jasmine T, but what else is going on at the same time?
The other games.
Can we bring up the... do we have the other games? Is that an asset we have, production? Should I look at the laptop?
No, we don't have the other games. But all the teams that aren't playing, they're playing each other.
Some kind of group stage seems to be occurring.
Yeah. But Jasmine T apparently setting up, which is always a good start. Paulson, there he is.
Can we get some tissues for War, please?
I don't need tissues, I need a towel.
I think he just...
That's generous.
He doesn't even know he's on camera, but he makes love to it. Like, we could do a little... could we risk a roll call here? Can you name these players? Gonna test your TF2 trivia?
I've not met any of them. Paulson is the handsome one.
Oh, they spotted us.
Alright, this is a good test for me, because I met them earlier on when I was walking around looking for my bag. So, closest to us is Yui. What do you call the pocket? Gio, I think, is beside him. Then Paulson, Dave, and at the far end, name some more players for me here.
The two remaining players.
Zaka
is the farthest.
Madness.
And then Madness second. So there you go, guys. That is the official Jasmine T roll call. They've got the dog collar up here. WARHURYEAH, get your leash out. Let's go.
Get down, boy.
Woof! Oh, this is beautiful.
What you're going to see the transition of Paulson turning into a furry. Live
when you dress him up.
Yeah.
A meme is born.
Whoa! I have a family.
We're going to go over to froyotech, see some more handsome gamers. Now this is a curious angle.
It seems to be a group of children sitting in their seats.
I don't know what TurboTabs.
TurboTabs. Oh,
He seems to have somehow mistaken himself for a good player.
froyotech coach TurboTabs here. Turncoat.
He's just got a whistle. He just blows it every so often.
All right, guys, laps.
All their strats are on Trello. He's turned his back here on the EU now. He is rooting.
He is
for
jumping
froyotech.
ship. He's jumped ship for traitor.
Okay, guys, since you didn't know any of the Jasmine T players, apart from Paulson, I'm going to give you the opportunity to run through this froyotech lineup as we see them here.
It's a tough one. Nearest to us, I want to say Free State. 404.
Closest is Free State, yeah.
404.
With his back, with his head turned to it.
Yeah, closest. In the froyotech
I
hoodie.
can't really tell by the back of people's heads,
That's TurboTabs.
That's his Paulson's.
Standing up there.
apart from my fiancée.
That's what I said.
Yeah,
Obviously.
We know David. David's telling us that TLR. Of course. Yeah. Now, to the right of him is 404. Or his left is 404. And then beyond that, with his hands over his head, that's Muma. Where's the bandman?
He's lying down. Well, he's so slouched that he can't actually see him.
He's fully horizontal
He's
right
giving
now.
everybody a foot rub pre-game under the desk.
There's actually people that do massages here, so...
Yeah, Banny. That's Paddy there in the kind of ready pinky shirt. He was the guy who got slammed 28 times last map. Doesn't seem to be phased at all there.
What do you think?
He's ready for more.
What is the most deaths Paddy will get? Because he's putting up some big numbers in the wrong categories here.
See,
So what is
it
the
was like
most?
the ESEA game, you know, where it could potentially go 60 minutes in a map. The sky's the limit. But in terms of the 30-minute EU time limit, I guess
That's quite
we
good
have
because
to
he gets
consult a
limited at the
resident
sky.
death expert Sideshow. How many times can one die in 30 minutes? 43, the record
43 is
here.
the benchmark.
Is that at LAN? Did you do it at LAN, mate?
I mean, Paddy did get 28 deaths, so that is a feat in its own, so that's actually quite decent on LAN. I think that might be a record.
Pretty consistent.
Back to Jasmine here and
TurboTabs again.
He's everywhere.
What is
it's
he
evil
doing?
twin.
He is
From down under.
he's spreading himself wide here. He's getting in everyone's pockets.
He has somehow found a teleportation device. He is literally just trying to get in with all the big boys, see if he can get like a referral if he wants to put up a recruitment post in Gift2L.
I think this must be like, you know, Hollywood special effects. They've really pushed the budget out here. It's like whenever Tupac performed. It's the hologram of TurboTabs.
TurboTabs died last summer, but we've got the technology, so we've got a
CGI,
hologram.
that's not actually him. The problem with the delays is that we spent all of our budget on the CGI TurboTabs.
It may have been misguided, guys, but I think the results speak for themselves.
To be honest, that's the best CGI I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So, pat on the back for whoever came up with that. It's probably Dashner.
So what I want to know then is, we've seen both cameras. Who's missing? Is Banny the only player that isn't actually ready to play? Because it seemed like there was almost 6 players apiece.
Well, again, he was probably slouched, so we couldn't see him. I reckon he was slouching behind Muma.
Maybe Banny is actually wearing a TurboTabs mask, you know, like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. It's just rubbered up.
He's gone over behind Jasmine T now. It's like, oh, so you're playing those suckers. Froyo, eh?
Oh yeah, he's overfishing for strats there, pretending to be TurboTabs. He's like, truth, mate.
What's the game plan? And they'll be like, oh, we're just gonna, I don't know.
Gonna press W and see what happens.
Yeah.
Just gonna throw Yui at Muma until we win.
He's like gonna be like some sort of like 1950s cartoon villain. He's just gonna go
Twirling his mustache.
I've got them. They won't suspect a thing. We've got some server details. I'm going to put them in Twitch chat. Give me a moment.
We're going to give you VIP,
1.92.
guys, so you know which one not to DDoS. So if you
Get
could all
your
make
botnets
sure
ready.
you do not DDoS this IP address, that'd be very, very much appreciated.
So that means we will be getting underway pretty soon. If you've just joined us here, we are waiting for Jasmine T versus froyotech. It's going to be a best of 1 on process. And the predictions, the analyst desk is kind of split. You know, these guys to my left seem to think that Jasmine T, the team who got slammed all week, are going to beat the defending champions of, I don't know, TFT World Championship, I-Series. Can we call it that, Valve, please? But
It's a bit of a stretch. It's a very different team.
just because they only managed to draw in their first game on Granary against Full Tilt. That's the the gist of it? You're just feeling the Jasmine team momentum?
I'm getting behind it. I'm feeling the hype. I like the idea that they're going to push. That's a really, really groundbreaking strat in this LAN. So I'm excited to see some actual pushes, some aggression, some reckless play. We've seen a lot of measured and careful and diligent play where people don't want to commit too much, and it's very, very tactically astute. But I want to see someone just throw it out the window, just go.
Gay abandon. That's what we're after, guys.
Don't worry, just go.
Yeah, I think I wasn't really impressed by Froyo, even if it was just the first game, but I've never sort of seen a Froyo that seemed to run out of ideas and only have one idea and not explore any other options.
They're lacking a playmaker.
Yeah, the thing is that when you had Clockwork and Blaze, they're probably the best duo that you could ever have.
They could make something out of nothing consistently.
Like Clockwork could just go in and just kill everyone, and that'd be it. So he's gone now.
Now we've got Paddy.
Rest in peace.
He can go in and get killed by everybody. Seems to be working.
Guys, if they're all dominating me, they're going to feel overconfident and overextend.
And just you watch now, they're going to overextend.
I am playing the long game here.
I'll get him. But yeah, I don't know. It's I think Process is like a map where you need that creativity. There's a lot more open areas for you to actually sort of exploit and actually just sort of go balls deep. And I don't see froyotech doing that.
No, there's a lot more options for Paddy. Like, it will be easy to get, he'll get better jumps in than he's able to do in Granary, at least more consistently. But it's just so easy to focus down one soldier when you're a top team. Like, it's 1 versus 6, tough.
Talk to me a little bit, War, about the the Demo Man matchup here, Mima against Paulson. Going into those process middles, Demo Man often instrumental in creating that space up top, etc. Who are you feeling right now? Which Demo Man has the edge?
I've not seen enough of either of them play to really sort of make a call, to be honest. It's kind of difficult. I would say, I mean, I've only seen Muma, so from what I've seen
it's
of
hard
that guy
to say
on that one map,
I mean, also, just to throw this curveball, the fact that the Muma meme is that you can't roll out process, very much a rollout-centric map.
Rollouts are a crutch for bad Derman. They sort of just go fast mid because they want to be good at one part of the map. Whereas, good Derman like to focus on everything else. The mids are just one section. Doesn't matter if you're slow. As long as you trash the other guy in all other areas, who cares?
Keep telling yourself that, man.
I don't even tell myself anymore. I'm done. I'm washed up. I tried rolling out the other day. I just had to walk.
Is being fast as Demo Man on process, like, is it worthwhile these days, or is it just is it a risk that you might get slammed by a soldier if you are fast?
That is the difficult part. There is sort of, if you do go faster, there's a chance you're going to get slammed by a soldier.
I think Zaka might go fast.
We're going to go to the standings right now because we had a few more results coming in there from round 1. Everyone has played their games here, and Crowns did manage to beat out Spank there.
Wow.
Shocker.
Yeah, beating one of the lower European teams. A result everyone expected, but good for Crowns to start off with a win. It's always important to win the games you expect to win, so it gives you a bit of reassurance in your own performance and play.
So it seems to be, business as usual here. The standings are as expected. We've got Crowns up top there. Jasmine T maybe the surprise, although obviously after one game just against NX, we're not going to.
Well, this one's going to be interesting because obviously Crowns beat one of the lower top 6. Jasmine T beat one of the lower top 6. Froyo went full tilt
by 1 round.
Drew. Unless we see a draw again, one of the top teams is going to lose to another top team.
Yeah.
And I believe we're getting ready. Oh wait, we're not.
We've got 9 on now. We're getting there. We're getting there.
To get your hopes up there, Twitch chat. Get the Resident Sleepers back out. We'll talk more about this game. This best of 1. I don't think we've even cracked the surface of the analysts. Analysis we can offer.
Can we delay the game?
We've got another.
I've got some more to say.
I'm not done. We haven't even got tactics.tf yet. That is a touchscreen. Just wait until I get my grubby little fingers on that. It won't work. But what I do want to talk about is Crowns versus Spanked, because Crowns only won by 1 round. And Permzilla was top fragging.
Can we get those logs up on stream?
No.
Not now. Oh, sorry. I've just
hold on.
Just asked the impossible. So
can we get a zoom on that, please?
Stand up in front of the camera there more, and we'll talk about these logs.
I don't. I'll probably disconnect something and knock something over, like the incredibly expensive televisions.
Paint a picture with numbers then, or tell us.
Paint by numbers.
What you see.
It's upside down now. Hold on.
Can we get an Australian to read these?
It was 3-2 to Crowns. Permzilla with a kill assist death ratio of 2.5. He was the outstanding performer.
So Permzilla wasn't the problem.
He was not the problem. It just so happens to be that he was just playing the wrong class all along.
The class was the problem.
Yeah, that was the real issue.
What class was he playing?
Scout. Skeege dropped twice. Raymond dropped once though. So Raymond again is going to be. I would say. Weak link. Yeah, I would say it wouldn't say he's the weak link. He's the player with probably like a good amount of potential. It's just I think he sort of tries to sort of push himself too much, puts too much pressure on himself, trying to like milk the Ubers a little bit more than he should. So I think he just sort of needs to be a little bit more sturdier. I mean, it's the Coach Cadus. Does that really do any good for them?
Yeah, because they're all incapable of independent thought.
That is true. But Tom as well, actually, from Spanx, I actually had him as a pretty decent player. He's definitely been doing quite well for Team England, and he was 22 and 17, so he was also having a really, really good game for Comfortably Spanx. So they definitely did a lot better. Funnily enough, Denier only played 5 minutes of Sniper, but only got 1 frag. Wow.
I'm not sure.
I sense I told you so coming.
What we can expect from Denier this LAN, because I know for a fact he's been spending the majority of his gaming hours playing Redacted Overwatch. And then in that game he's playing Lucio, probably not the greatest warm-up for some sick sniper
I don't think
plays.
there's any character in Overwatch that could be
a good warm-up for anything.
Yeah, because you literally don't have to do anything.
You just spam. Just spam.
I mean, he'd be. I have to say, if he's got his quick switch on Q, he'd be really good swapping between weapons, like instantly. Like when he needs it, as soon as he identifies the moment that he needs to switch to his pistol, pow.
Yeah, but you press Q and then you just leave. Watch yourself win the game. So he's going to swap weapon and he's just going to walk off.
That's the downside. He presses Q, he just takes his hand off the keyboard.
Done.
Pistol out.
I mean,
Matt Pat said it was a better game though, so he was right. It requires more skill.
Sounds like they have 12 on the server. They're on the wrong map though, Nothing's ever easy in TF2.
Pretty close.
They are changing over the process right now. And I think the time has finally come to see TF2 instead of talking about TF2. Almost.
It's i58 where we sit here and wait.
That's LAN. You're here for the delays. That's what you want.
It's the experience. I mean, CSGO had a massive delay as well, and that's incredibly boring. I mean, they're just probably waiting for something interesting.
We had to wake up the players, the crowd.
Yeah, we did. Oh, what crowd? I'll stop.
Sick burn. We're all part of one big esports family. Whatever's good for CSGO is good for TF2.
Families always fight and don't like each other.
Well, and it's just like a battle to see which community is the most toxic.
We are leaps and bounds ahead.
No, we don't have enough players.
There is no real rivalry or competition in TF2. It's official. STB issues. I'm hearing the voices in my head.
We didn't hear it. There is no such thing as issues. You have to call it a challenge. An issue seems like something that you can't resolve. A challenge is something that you push forward and complete. That's the official link.
So Paddy's got a lot of challenges ahead of himself.
He's got a lot of challenges. But you know what? He can overcome those challenges. He's won a season of Invite. How many of you won? None.
Oh, you're right, actually. No,
exactly.
I don't know. I came like halfway up mid once. What's it called? Not intermediate, but one below it.
I mean, your best achievement was in Superstars, and that was because you were surrounded by superstars. And it was
I was the superstar.
No, you weren't. We had Dr. Leon. He finished second in the LAN and won a season of ETF2 World.
Yeah.
I think.
I'm going to go with yes.
It is a long time ago, during our age.
The season where there was only 3 teams left in the Premier League.
It was AFS, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
None of these guys will remember because they're all 12.
TF2 history are right here. Live.
Let's roll it back.
NEC. Okay. I've listened to all you had to say, guys, you know. All the Jasmine T, rabble-rousing. But I'm still back in froyotech, mostly because Banny's in my dream team. My fantasy team. Head over to fantasytf2.com.
Oh, that is true. I forgot about that. Flush is in mine.
Oh, Flush is in mine as well.
It's ruined it.
Flush is in mine too. And I had a Disky. It just got slammed. Oh no.
Not like this.
Let me have a look at mine.
I didn't have the option to pick Permzilla. You know, I'm just putting that out there, Gentleman John. Permzilla was not listed as one of the options. It would have been a big gamble.
Would you have picked Permzilla on Scout on the basis that you might murk for them at some point in one of the games? You would have gone and spent thousands of imaginary dollars on Permzilla.
I've got a feeling that Stark is going to be late, so I'm just going to put Permzilla in there just to fill that potential void that might happen.
I'm actually curious what the dynamic was like on the, you know, the Crowns comms. Permzilla coming in there, very serious atmosphere. Coach Cadis, you know, cracking the whip. Perm just like flipping off his former boss, like he left the team because he didn't want to commit so much time. He didn't want to clean it up. He wasn't feeling it. Was he just in there like doing whatever he wanted, running riot throughout
He's
the
played
game?
half an hour. I'm sure he can manage that in the last few months.
Was it a big middle finger to Kato? That's what I'm wondering, you know.
Speaking of which, Stark's just arrived. Get back on the bench, Permzilla.
There's Stark rolling in right now. But
late to mid, one would say.
We're unsure who they're playing in the next round. We couldn't quite get that information, you know. Pretty much the stretch.
Oh my god, I've only got 85 points. There's someone called Friggies on 177 points. That is on beta.fantasytf2.com. Also check out
Who owns Team Friggy?
Scrap.tf.
Who owns Team Friggy?
My team is called the Warship.
I didn't ask about your teammate. Who's on the number one team?
He's got, oh my god, he's got Yui in it. That's probably,
oh,
he's got Zaka as well. He's got Tom. He's got Koss, Paulson, Zaka, Tom, Yui, Hafikul.
It's a fluke.
It's rigged.
It's a fluke.
Early days there.
I reckon that's Gentleman John.
Results.
He doesn't even have a cool name for his team.
Team Friggy, owned by Bridge.
I mean, Sideshow Appreciation Society's got 162 points.
Wait, whose team is called Shake My Head Asia?
He's on my friends list. Oh, it's TJ. But anyway, we have Yui sitting on a good 52 points, which is a high number. We've only captain that's close to him with 36, so get yourself to beta.fantasytf2.com. You can't win any items because certain individuals ruin that for everybody. But I can't name them because they're present at this venue, and I'll get chucked out.
Okay.
Do I hear whisperings of a game?
Yes. They have 12 on the server. They want us to throw over to the casters, but you know, we're just going to hog the camera time.
Should we just cast it?
Possible.
Just
should we do it?
With our massive egos.
We're gonna steal this.
Just say nothing. We'll remain in silence. Just look at the camera. Okay. We'll throw it over to our casters. Sideshow and Bren. Good luck, guys.
Bren, it's been a lifetime. It's been a lifetime. I feel like I've aged. I feel like I've physically aged. But thankfully, we do actually have a game for people. You know, it's good that we are the ones that get to bring the action to people. Whereas, you know, people that hate on the Analysts, they're like, right, what is going on here? This is a tournament, not a talkman. It's i58, not i58. But we are the guys who are going to bring you the action, and it is froyotech against Jasmine T on Process. The guys are all in the server. It all looks fine for them, so they're going to be going live very, very shortly here. Now, in terms of predictions, the Analyst test was favoring Jasmine T overall, I think mainly because Yui was just like styling on noobs in their previous game. Yeah. But I've been watching their boot camps, and Process seemed like a standout worse map for them in terms of like how they were approaching it on a mid-fight basis, and then how they were able to get into the rest of the map. Yeah. It all hinges, in my opinion, on how big of a leap Jasmine have gone from their boot camp, where they had like 60 hertz monitors, only getting about 100 frames per second on their PCs, and they didn't have very stable internet. It just occasionally ping spiked to a ridiculous level. I think the question for me is how much has this team developed purely by getting better equipment? And I think we're going to see right here, because Madness and Yui play, as the Analyst test was talking about, like a super aggressive style. Yeah. They don't really have a pocket scout like Banny. That role just doesn't exist on their team. They go balls to the wall aggressive whenever they possibly can. And, you know, if they're able to pull out that performance and hit more shots than they were in the boot camp, could really turn things around for them. or they might just get mulched. There really isn't enough data, I think, at this point to tell, and this game is going to be crucial in finding it out.
I have pretty much always been a Jasmine fanboy, and not because I got a man crush on Paulson.
No, not at all. None of us do. None of us do.
Whew, speak for yourself. But no, I think the technical issues they're having, obviously, never going to help. Playing on 60 Hz monitors, never great. And I have seen them turn up time and time again, because I do cast a lot of Australian TF2.
Yeah.
And I watch a lot of it as well. These guys, they are very capable men. They just need to start getting out of the habit of, because they started the boot camp, it felt like they were kind of still playing like they were playing against the other Australian teams.
Yeah.
Which they're not going to get punished for their mistakes as much. They're not going to get, called out on things that they should get called out by these other top teams at this international event. And I think they have sort of started to clock onto that now. They got into it. They're getting some practice in. They're on better equipment. I think, honestly, this could go the way of Jasmine, unless Froyo shows something different from what we saw from that last game.
I think I'm still going to favour froyotech in this one. I think that the scout situation, Madness and Yui are not going to be able to pull something ridiculous out, because Free State and Banny, I think, are in a position where they should be able to shut people down. One of the weaknesses that I saw from their boot camp in the way that these guys play Jasmine T is that Zaka and Gio seem to have some difficulty setting things up for their scouts on mid. The team plays around Paulson and Yui, with Madness there as well as kind of like the triple core of the people that they want to get frags and do damage. And Zaka and Gio, although Gio takes the Ubers and gets a lot of the heals and damage in and kills that way, they play much more of a facilitating role, or should do, on the mid fights, and they were kind of struggling to do that. They weren't really getting themselves in a good position. They were getting shut down especially hard when I was watching some scrims against Full Tilt. I mean, we saw Thalash in the previous game just slamming Paddy repeatedly, and he was doing that to Zaka again and again, so yeah. I feel like Zaka could be a bit of a punching bag on this one on Process. If anyone is going to contest Paddy for amounts of deaths on Roma, I think it's going to be Zaka, and it might well be on this map, because Banny and Free State are going to go wild. This is a real scout map. This is a scout-heavy, DM-heavy map, especially on the mid-fights. And unless Paulson's able to control that top level and put a lot of damage onto Free State and Banny, they could find themselves in a bit of a sticky situation where their soldiers just can't get into the fight properly.
It's a fair comment to make, but I think Paulson is the kind of demo man that is really, as the team is built around him locking down the top area as a process, not really going to be too much of an issue for him. He is a very, very capable man. It's just something about Australia that just breeds decent demo man, apparently.
Yeah. It's strange that, because we were talking about that in terms of snipers as well. Yui's got a phenomenal sniper on him, although I don't think they like to pull it out that often. It's not someone like Sheep, where he was just like god-tier sniper, but really couldn't pull it together in a lot of crucial situations on Scout, so they felt a little bit pressured in a lot of situations to use him on what was his best class, which was what's commonly considered a utility. But the way that Immunity used to run it, it was more of their default lineup was to try and run a sniper in whatever situation they could manage it. This team, not like that. They have a slightly different play style. They don't play around Geo as much as Immunity played around Yuki, but you will see a lot of Geo Ubers. But I think we do have the players ready to go live here, so we are going to be going very shortly, but this is going to be a crucial game for me, because if Jasmine aren't able to pull it together and just kind of DM blast through, then I can see them taking fourth in the tournament. I think on the result of this, I might feel a little more comfortable placing Jasmine. Before this, they really were, I had no idea, because you look at them in a boot camp, you can identify their issues, but that's because they're being exploited. They don't have the deathmatch to be able to carry fights that they would normally just rely on just skilling it and winning. So they get punished for every mistake they make, which means that you're able to see the mistakes that they make more than other teams who it gets glossed over because they're able to just charge through and take it with superior deathmatch. So they weren't able to do that in the boot camp. If they're able to do it now, I'll be very impressed, because they're coming up against a team that, while inexperienced, do have some phenomenal fraggers on there. You got Tyler. I mean, you can't count that guy out at any point. Banny, who's probably the best pocket scout at the LAN. I mean, you could throw in names like Hafikul and Ast in there as well, but I think you have to give it to Banny based on like his performance in i58 Froyo, where he was just dominant. I mean, he frequently puts up like ridiculous damage numbers because he's taking control of his team as well and builds the team around him. So, CX was talking a little bit about how he likes to take things in and get in through the choke points, but it relies on people like Michael Salentes, like we saw in the previous game, hitting fat directs on them in order to shut him down. Gio does have some fat directs on him, so that'll be also incredibly interesting to see.
Yeah, I don't think Jasmine are lacking in the DM department whatsoever, but I mean, on the one hand, I don't want to call them DM donkeys. But
no, don't want to use DM donkeys to describe them, but the way that they play is more towards that avenue than the other teams. You know, Crown's very controlled team, certainly on the complete other end of the spectrum. froyotech, from what we saw, you know, they were kind of a bit more relaxed. They didn't want to go into it on Granary, but that might just be the Granary, you know. Full tilt further towards the DM donkey stage, but not quite as far as Jasmine, I think. And then Xenix and Spanked, you really don't know what you're going to get at any point. But, you know, the DM style does work if you're able to just power through. If you do have those superstar talented players on your team, then it is one of the best styles for you to have. If you try and play that controlled style, you end up not using the fragging talents of your team. People like Drak, who were picked up for Crowns on Roma, have this expert level of DM. He was a superstar player in the lower level team that he used to play in. He used to carry them on pocket. And having come into Crowns, who have this very reserved, safe style, he plays a very safe, I mean, super safe. Yeah. You know, there's like, you never know what's going to come through that big door. But he does. He really just sits there and he just watches the door. And on Process as well, he plays it so passively, even more than someone like Gia would in like i59 Epsilon. He's just holding way back, will never give himself up as a pick. And in a sense, you lose that sense of him being a superstar. You lose that deathmatch talent because they've pushed themselves so far over the other way. But there's certainly something to be said for the ability to slow down the game when we're playing like this.
Do you think this game is going to depend a lot on Paulson? Because you've sang so many praises about Banny and Free State, this dynamic duo of scouts. Do you think a lot of it is going to rely on these mid-fights, Paulson locking down those top crates?
Yeah, I don't think the scouts are going to be going aggressive. You know, I'm talking about Banny and Free State, but I don't think they're going to be kind of just rushing straight into Paulson and taking him out of the fight. Zaka will, from what I've seen, aim to do the fast rollout and get onto Muma, but I don't think it's going to work. Muma's got a very safe style. He had 3 deaths against full tilt. That was the same amount as Kos, one more than 404. I mean, the guy just stays alive forever. Yeah. After the ESEA Grand Finals, actually. Yeah, after the ESEA Grand Finals, Banny was talking to me after I picked him up from the airport yesterday. He said, I was talking to him about the playstyle of Muma, and he said, yeah, that's what TLR told him after the ESA Grand Finals. He said, dude, I want you to top death in every game at i58. Muma, aim to top death, please. Stop baiting us. So, you know, I always thought that their team was kind of, it was Banny kind of building that style into Muma and trying to get him to play like that, but I think it's gone a little too far, and they want to rein him back in a little bit. Right. Or not rein him back in, but, you know, unleash him. Get out there, go do something, and don't sit back. But at the moment, the server appears to be paused, which is very interesting because, oh no, it's actually down. Our luck, Bren. More delays. No, we don't actually know what the situation is, but we'll get some information to you fairly quickly. We will. I promise you, I swear on Bren's life that we will get Jasmine v Froyo up for you at some point, because this is the clash of the unknown quantities, as the analyst desk was saying before. And it's really important to see how these two teams pan out. In terms of how the scouts are going to match up, I think we went into a little bit with Madsen and Yui, but what did you feel like the dynamic between TLR and Paddy was in the previous game? How do you think those guys are going to go up against?
Paddy fed.
He did, a little.
It's quite a bit. I wouldn't say a little, you know. But
a little. 28 deaths. You know, I don't consider 28 deaths feeding, frankly. For me,
to
you have to get into triple digits to be considered a feeder, for my money. There are different styles of playing Roma, right? Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, I think the team was feeding Paddy in.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's what
probably more than he was feeding. But at the same time, you can be a bit more creative with the bombs that you're doing. Like, you can. We saw Silentes try a double jump through the choke side of Granary. Didn't manage to get onto 404, but it was at least a bit more interesting, a bit more creative, forced froyotech to adapt a little more than just, oh, there's a soldier coming, Thalash, see you later. So, definitely going to be an interesting one, but for my money, Zaka is around the same level. I've been concerned to see Zaka in the boot camp. From what I saw of his mid-fights, you know, they seemed a little shaky. They seemed like he didn't quite understand the dynamic of like how he was supposed to get in against these teams, because the mid fights at the moment, at least in Europe, have been kind of trending towards the more defensive. Right. You know, it's, particularly on something like Snakewater, you'll set up really passive and you'll just try and bait the other team into sending somebody in. And he tended to be the first casualty in something like that. Again, in process, it was kind of the same thing in the scrims that I watched. But how much can you read into those scrims, Bren?
Not a lot, to be honest. I mean, Jasmine, as we've already mentioned, time and time again, technical issues plagued them throughout the entirety of their boot camp. The only issue they have is really not being tested against these top teams at an international level. And I think Zaka is a capable guy. He's definitely got the DM, and it's really whether or not they've worked out these little kinks in the past few weeks. Because as you mentioned, it's not all about the technical issues. That's not the entire reason they've been failing. No. It's just been emphasising their more sort of strategies, basically, if you like.
Yeah. And those things don't really get fine-tuned or developed in a scene where you're not constantly challenged. So we talk about this quite a bit, but Jasmine, as one of the Australian teams, don't really have that much competition. No. Their last major team that was challenging them was Ego, which was kind of an iteration or like a mix-up of some of the immunity players that had been at previous I-Series. We saw them, of course, at i59 and i52 with Yuki and those guys. And they tested them. They certainly took them to the limit. Yeah. They lost in the upper bracket final to them. Jasmine T lost. Came back in the grand final. Were able to beat them. I think it was a little bit of a shock for them to lose in the upper bracket final as well. But they were able to bring it back. The issue is that then you're only playing against a team with one style. If you have one set practice partner and they don't alter up their styles, you only get tested in the same way again and again. I think the boot camp has really opened up their eyes into the ways they need to adapt against other people's styles.
I don't think that's fair, to be honest, to them. I mean, when I've spoke to Jasmine and Ego players in the past, bless their souls, they've moved on to different ventures. But
yeah, greener pastures, perhaps.
Yeah. Jasmine, when I have talked to them about it, saying, you know, how do you overcome this obstacle of only playing the same teams time and time again? They said it's a struggle because they come up with strategies all the time. It's like their own little meta develops between them, and they just get stuck in, and then one team will do something differently. They have to adapt very quickly. So I don't really think that's too fair to pin it all on that. But at the same time, it is a disadvantage not having all these top teams that the Europeans or the Americans have access to.
Yeah, I think it would be super interesting to have this kind of event just happening all the time, or have like all of the talent concentrated in one region.
Get on it.
Exactly. Get on it. Ship them over. You know, we can all move to North America or something and play from there. But it would be super interesting to have all the talent in the same region. I think something that kind of gets overblown a little bit is the placing of people at the I-Series. Because if you think about the Australians in previous events, there's this running thing that they always finish fourth. But if you actually analyze where they finished and what the games were like against those other people, they were insanely close. I mean, if you think about I-49, the reason they finished fourth was that game against TCM, where Zebasai's TCM had the most ridiculous comeback on Granary, just like history being made right before you, where they went up 4-0, the Australians, and got beaten 5-4 to be knocked out of the competition. I mean, that's heartbreaking stuff, and that's the reason that they finished fourth. So, you know, they easily could have made third. They were contesting HRG, so, you know, the situation, I think because they only happen once a year, these events, you can read slightly too much into where the teams are placed rather than looking at the overall context of how competitive it was. If you look at I-52 as well, IM had a blinder of a game against Mix-Up, just some of the best TF2 we have ever seen at I-52. In that IM Mix-Up game was unreal on the Saturday night. I mean, I can't even remember it, but I had an experience. That was fantastic. And then, you know, they get knocked out of the tournament there in fourth. Mix-Up go on to have an incredibly close game against Epsilon there for second place. Oh, sorry, for third place. The one that got knocked out became third. And you got to feel like if they're able just to change a few things, just alter 2 mistakes maybe over the course of the entire best of 3, they've got themselves third place. They're then contesting Epsilon, who they had a super close game against in the group stages as well, and they even beat froyotech in the group stages of I-52. So, I mean, these teams have always been incredibly competitive, and to say, you know, they've always been fourth place, they've never quite been able to get there, is a bit of, you know, lacking the context of it. But we have got everyone back in the server. What we had to do there was change over onto a different server. Unknown reasons, you know, maybe these players just didn't like the look of it. It was a bit dodgy. They thought, no, you know, oh, I probably need another toilet break. It's been a while now. We've been waiting so long, we should probably wait a bit more.
Yeah.
So we're about to get into the game very shortly. So we are going to be going to process. If you have just joined us, this is going to be Jasmine against froyotech. This is our second game. Can you believe it, Bren? Second game of the day. But second game of the day.
How many years does it mean?
Yeah, I think, is it I58 yet? But yes, it is going to be Jasmine T against froyotech. That is the best North American team at the moment against the best Australian team. So that is going to be an absolute blind and never seen before. These two teams have never gone up against each other. No iteration of these teams have ever gone up against each other because this is the first intercontinental LAN that Jasmine have ever attended or any of their players have ever attended. They have no LAN experience that I'm aware of because the Aussie LANs just kind of fitted out a while ago. You know, they might have had some low-level stuff. And on the side of froyotech, you could say almost the same stuff about 4 of their players. There's only really TLR and Banny who have that experience and have been seen at these intercontinental lands before. So this is, you know, some real groundbreaking stuff that we're about to see unfold before us.
Do you think the LAN experience is going to be a big factor between these two teams, given the fact that Froyo is the one with the more experience at the end of the day? Do you think that will be a deciding factor in which team's going to be more dominant?
I don't think it's LAN experience. I think to call it LAN experience is a little bit of mislabeling because I think of LAN experience as the difference between your online play and your LAN play. I don't think that's going to be the issue, but I think experience is certainly going to play a difference because if Banny's able to make some crucial calls or be able to calm his team down when they get into that kind of atmosphere, and yeah, that's LAN experience as well, being able to control your emotions in this kind of situation, even though they're not playing on a grand stage or something like that. This is big games for some of these guys, even though we're only in the group stage as well. This group stage matters way more than the previous Insomnia stages because we only have 6 invite teams. The bottom 2 teams are going to end up playing against some really tough opposition, so you certainly don't want to slip down to there. If you end up getting upset by Xenix or Spanked, you've got a bit of an issue. But we're going to be going into this one very shortly. The players are just about to begin, and we're going to be going to Jasmine v froyotech on process. Right, let's get some predictions, Bren. How close do you think it's going to be? Is it going to be fast or slow? And who do you think is going to win?
I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be not. I don't want to say fast-paced, but at the same time, I think it is going to be a small scoreline. If I was to make a prediction score-wise, I would probably say 2-1 to Jasmine. 2-1
to Jasmine. So you think back and forth, but still fast-paced.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. I think given what we've seen of froyotech's last holds, especially on this map, I think Jasmine are going to have a bit of difficulty cracking them. Right. I think they might lose a couple of the mid-fights as well, so they might on the back foot early. I think I'm going to predict a bit more of... I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for a slightly more dominant win for froyotech here. I'm seeing something like 4-2 on the cards.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
That's my predictions, but the teams are just about to show us what they can do as well. We see the players warming up at the moment on our screens. They're just about to go live into the game, just making sure that they are all piping hot and ready to deliver. Madness and Yui in particular have got to be piping hot as we go into process. This is our first game of watching Jasmine T here, our second game of watching froyotech, and the first time that these two have ever faced each other. Let's get into it, Bren. This is our second map of I58. It's froyotech against Jasmine T.
Here we are. We see Pawson. He's going to be rolling out alongside Moomin now. They're both going to be basically reaching these midpoints at quite a difficult time. And what is going on?
I think we're being trolled, Bren. I think we're being trolled. I think this whole LAN is an elaborate ruse to make us cry. Just to cry into a corner.
I'm a broken man.
Yeah, I was broken before the map began, but I'm just thinking about going home at this point, Brent. We'll leave it to Dreamboat and Max, I think. So, no, I'm not sure what the issue is here. It's probably some kind of technical issue. I do hope that the server hasn't broken down. But, you know, the tension at this point is palpable. You could cut the atmosphere with a knife here as they go into the first mid. But we really haven't seen anything from these two. It was paused pretty much as soon as it possibly could be. One thing that you can say is that neither of these teams are earning a sniper to mid. And that, I think, is the only thing you can say.
In this situation, I think... even Admirable would struggle for words, to be honest. I don't really know. We've said it to death. Jasmine, I think they're capable. You think Froyo are going to be showing that they are more dominant because of Jasmine's previous scrim results on process, and also the fact that we've seen that they are a little bit sort of disjointed when it comes to Zaka's playstyle. But who knows? Oh, it's back to us.
It is. It's back to our beautiful faces as we just entertain people for a while. We don't want to watch people riding bicycles in TF2 instead. So something that I just want to touch on as well is the difference between their win record in terms of coming here and at home, because for Jasmine T, the analysts were talking a little bit about their win record in their respective regions on Process. I think Jasmine just really style on the opposition on Process. They seem to, it seems to be one of their favored maps when they play against the other teams in Australia. I wonder whether that's something to do with just being able to steamroll over them in terms of deathmatch. It's quite an open map, you know, the chokes, you can get in there fairly easily. Could just be them liking the fact that they can roll over their opposition with deathmatch, or it could actually be a sleeper pick for them.
Every time I've watched Jasmine, it's Paulson that's the wrecking ball that comes through and just clears so much room for his team, creates an incredible amount of space, and his team, they work around it. They've gotten used to it. Even when Brutalix was back in the team, it seems like donkeys years ago now, but no,
it really wasn't that long ago, was it?
No,
it was
wasn't,
at the end of the season, in fact.
Yeah, in fact, that's another fact that you could talk about. I mean, they've had to adjust to changing their main caller, because I mean, Brutalix, he played medic for Jasmine T, if you're not aware of the Australian scene, and he was basically just micromanaging everyone, like playing a game of Dota by himself.
Yeah, it was crazy. It really was. It was like you know, like bite level micromanaging. Like really from the medic role, making sure everybody knew exactly where they were. He was a big fan of i59 Epsilon, really tried to make the team emulate that kind of style. I think you can really see the remnants still in the team and how it plays. They have Paulson as that center ball of the team in the same way that Numlock used to play it. Obviously, the Demoman isn't as strong as it used to be. It's had some nerfs since then. The whole meta has tried to slow down a little bit, punishes kind of solo Ubers onto the Demoman. No longer will we see Nox crying out, "Mono, mono," onto Numlocked for a number of reasons, mostly because they fight against each other in a completely different title at the moment, but also because Demoman solo Ubers aren't as effective. You won't see Dave shouting "Mono, mono," or solo, or any of these things that you would say. He might be screaming at him to woof if they get a double air shot or something, but apart from that, I can't imagine them shouting anything at each other. For Paulson, though, it does put a lot of pressure onto him, because it's not a style that any of the other teams play. None of them have this powerhouse Demoman that wrecks through people anymore. It's just not a style that's in favor at the moment. When I was talking to Mike previously about how he wanted to style full tilt when he came into it, he said that Ale was good enough to try and craft a team around him in the same way that i49 Epsi had, but his opinion of it was that it's just a different style. It's not an inferior style, but I think his is the slightly nostalgic look back at how he used to play, and I think he has the opinion that if he was surrounded by players that had a level of talent of i49 Epsilon, they would be able to make that strategy work again. I'm slightly more skeptical of that, because I think that's a bit of rose-tinted glasses and not really taking into account how much the Demoman has been nerfed and how much the meta has slowed down since i49 days, because nobody else plays like that, despite there being excellent Demoman talent on the scene. You know, i52 Turmo didn't play like that. Paulson tries to play like that a bit, but it's a lot of pressure onto him. Mooma certainly doesn't play like that, but Duartner never, you know, all of these great Demoman. Rib never, you know, Cadus doesn't. Even though he takes a lot of it, he was never, you know, styling it around himself. It was always, you know, the pocket scout, the aggressive scout, and then a pocket around him as well. So, you know, it's certainly a different one. One of the Jasmine players is just restarting their PC at the moment. That is the reason for the delay. Not quite sure what the issue was. Before we had to swap one of their monitors out, you know, they had a few issues with their PCs when they were first getting them, but I was hoping everything was going to be smooth sailing from there on out, but it seems not just for the moment. You know, Brent, the key part to remember here is that if we have all the delays now, there won't be any later on.
That's it. They're all used up.
They're all used up. We've used up all of our delay time. There won't be any later on. That's a guarantee. Can we make guarantees like that, Brent? Are we allowed? I think we are. I think you know,
we're in a position.
We are in the position of power. We can guarantee you that if you stick with us, stick with me and Bren, you know, don't listen to the analysts. Getawell's currently scoffing down a subway. He doesn't have a clue what's going on.
He's loving it.
But they're just waiting for the game to start as well so that they can get their analysis on. We all are, really. We're all just waiting for the games to happen. But in terms of the overall context for these two teams, if one of them gets a leg up here, if one of them manages to get the win, they're in a far better position, because these are the two teams that we didn't really know where they place. So whoever manages to get on top of the other here will have a huge advantage in the group stages. And we've gone live again. Would you believe it? It is Jasmine T against froyotech, and they are live on their first mid-fight. I know that you're still seeing our faces, but believe me, it is happening.
It's kicking off.
And
you're missing out.
Zaka has bombed in, actually. He's been taken way out of the fight. Chio's already gone down, and it looks like froyotech have easily managed to take this one. Madness is the only player left in, and Yui and Dave desperately trying to get out of this situation, but they are being hunted down fast by both Banny and Paddy. There we go. There's the game for you guys. Have no fear. We've brought it to you. And Yui and Dave were the only guys that managed to escape from that mid-fight just to set the scene. You had Zaka jumping in really early, ended up getting caught over at froyotech's choke. froyotech balled up and were able to push across the point. So certainly Zaka trying something different that I hadn't seen from him just yet, but that is an interesting one to start us out. And immediately, Bren, 2 free picks.
Okay, yeah. Froyo getting a little bit too cocky there. I think feeling off the back of that mid-fight, they thought, you know, we can take a fight to them, but now Jasmine strikes back. 2 kills already. They forced out of Uber now. As Froyo look to take it in, TLR has managed to pick up Yui, so that is one pretty good pick for them. Dave, a little bit too far forward, they ate a rocket. He's a bit weak, but now they're going to be moving in with the Uber. But at the same time, TLR's on the back line. They haven't even fought. This is completely disastrous. I can't believe this just happened, but TLR, he sneaked behind them and they can't stop him. It's a backup. In the first few minutes of this game, is it too late to go back on my prediction?
NA gimmicks, Bren. I'm shaking my head right here. I'm shaking my head. No, that was really well played by froyotech, though. They absolutely crushed that attempted push out. I think Paulson dying or like timing out at the end of that was the reason that we had the pause so early on. But that was only 2 minutes expended here, and froyotech already in the lead, 1-0. And this mid-fight will be decisive again. Zaka playing up top here, making sure that he doesn't overextend. Paulson's definitely got the better of Moomer in terms of health, but Moomer now just starting to get position, and Paddy and TLR are going to be able to take this right-hand side. TLR has gone deep into PC as well. This is going to give Jasmine an opportunity to push across the point, and Yui's keeping TLR pinned inside. This is great play from Jasmine as they're able to just storm across the point, slowly pressure froyotech out, and Tyler was completely wasted there in IT.
I have a feeling TLR right now, they know where he is. They've got eyes on him. Froyo still trying to basically hold on to this for dear life, but they do need to be careful that TLR doesn't get this pick onto Dave. Now, Jasmine, they are going to be capping up the second. Now here comes this TLR's time to shine. He moves in, he gets off a few beautiful rockets, but in the end,
destroyed by an air shot from Paulson. That was nasty. What we've seen so far from Jasmine is a big step up in terms of deathmatch. They're coming in now. This is going to be a Geo Uber from the look of it, but as Dave is forced off, it's Yui who's taking the brunt of it forwards. Geo's taken quite a bit of damage, has to be caught here, and Free State on the point is the only last bastion of defense. Their players are falling like flies here for froyotech. Tyler doing what he possibly can, but they've somehow managed to clean up. Oh my word, there's only Paulson alive. He's going in. One man against the world. He's not going to be able to do that one. It looked so good for them, but Banny stayed alive on 9 HP, and Tyler got his spawn.
9 health. Yeah, Jasmine going to be pushing. Going to be trying to take the second order. They're going to be just holding on to the mid for now. Froyo realise they're in a much greater position when it comes to, well, not the players, but the positioning-wise for them. It's pretty good. Equal Uber pretty much for both these teams, and Jasmine now caught in this little choke point area. They've got 4 members of the team, and they're going to be trying to send a few people through trio. Been completely caught off guard. Paddy picks up the first kill, TLR with a second, and now both the soldiers going down for Jasmine as they have no choice but to back all the way up. TLR creating a lot of room for his team. Froyo following him behind him. And that's going to be the mid to Froyo.
And there's a dry push that didn't work whatsoever for them. Jumped Geo in order to get some space over towards sewers. Just got instantly picked off. Zaka was already in too deep as well. He dies. froyotech take an easy mid there. They just gave up position, and this is the reason why a lot of teams don't go for these anymore. Oh, Yui's taking a fight against Free State and Paddy, but Paddy gets the better of him there, and TLR's jumped in already to get the Uber charges out. They've managed to trade. froyotech haven't lost anybody just yet. Paddy's quite weak, though, only on 76 health. Is starting to make his way in through PC hit area here. Geo's got a fight on his hands. It has been taken down incredibly weak as well. Paddy and Paulson trade for each other. That's going to favor froyotech here as they are storming into this one. Isolate Madness as well. He drops, and Jasmine on the back foot once again.
Yeah. That was really, really elegant by Froyo there. They just completely capitalised that. As I say that, Zaka picked up one movement with the follow-up. He has finished off Ewan. It's a bit of a scrap happening in this rollout area right now. Froyo just trying to brute force their way through. Dave is holding on. He doesn't have Uber Charge just yet, but neither does 404. So right now is Froyo trying to dry push in through this player advantage. Gio hits up one fat rocket onto Banny, moving with the follow-up, so he brings him down. But it's just kills going all over the place right now. Trades happening left, right, and centre, and Froyo can't seem to do it. They can't seem to dry push.
Froyo do have a 20% Uber advantage here. I'm not sure they're aware of it. Paddy's trying to put damage down into anyone he can. Lands on the head of Yui and slams a rocket into his dome. Good night, and that has given them 2 picks. Gio back on the field now, though, so only a single pick, and it is equal Ubers. Looks like TLR is going to take this one in, Bren.
Yeah, they're going to be moving in with the Uber. TLR trying to make as much room as he possibly can. Jasmine have popped off their Uber now. A few stickies actually going to be laid by Pawson, trying to get the stragglers. 404 going to be the first casualty. A nice little jump in by Paddy there. He's trying to get Dave, and he's got the kill with the help of Paddy. Unreal stuff, and that's going to be no medic for Jasmine T right now, and I think they needed that.
That was absolutely necessary because 404 got caught in after the Uber charge, and they took it really deep because they thought they had a chance of being able to capitalize in the afterfight. They weren't able to take the last point, but you know, at least you get the medics out of that situation and you get the respawners in order to defend second, so really nothing lost. And if Jasmine try and defend this one, it's going to be really bad for them. Yeah. And they might get locked into lobby here as well. Gio has been caught out. That's a pocket down. This could just trigger a dry push from froyotech. They have the players, but Paddy and Banny still a bit weak. They look a bit tentative. They don't really know whether they want to go, and Zaka has caught them.
Oh my
Big
goodness.
plays by Zaka.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage straight up all the way into them. Now going to try and cut them off in this lobby area. Pawson is getting in the damage, but can his team really follow up on it? But it looks like it's the big wraparound. Paddy is hiding around the corner in the shutter area. I don't know if he realizes that he's there. Now Paddy, he has spotted Gio. He's going to get off one rocket before backing off at least. So for now, Froyo holding on their second with the 1 round advantage so far, and this game has been very, very fast paced, but quite equal between them.
And a sniper for both teams here. Banny actually running the sniper for his team, so he's going to be trying his own little gimmicks as he comes in through this first door here on the left, seeing what he can spot. There's Zaka who might peek his head out, but if he's allowed to swing all the way deep here, he might even get an angle onto Dave. Goodness me, he spotted Yui first and didn't quite know what was just around the corner. They managed to get the trade kill there onto Zaka and take him down as he just overextends, but Banny again getting a nice little angle in. Dave's holding this enormous angle that Banny has to go to, but his team just aren't watching the doors effectively. Look how far Moom is allowed to get in as well. Jasmine have to be more proactive on locking down these choke points, because otherwise Banny will just sneak all the way in. Oh, he eats a headshot there, down to 4 HP. Yui just showing him who's boss, but not enough to take the kill.
Yeah, really a battle of the snipers right now. Jasmine are just looking for any opportunity whatsoever to move all the way in. Froyo now look like they want to try and take the initiative. They're really just waiting for this one pick off the back of the bandman, but really not getting much out of it as he is taking a bit of damage here and there. And Yui, they do need to be on the ball with him on sniper as well. I mean, they could potentially be losing a player on their side once again, but really just locking down this last point so well. They're peeking Banny time and time again.
And TLR's sat there just baiting him as well. If anyone tries to push in, if Zaka or Madness try and rush down Banny because they think it's a free pick, that's going to be a counter pick. But will they attempt to push off it? If they get a single pick here onto Jasmine, wow, Banny goes down there to a swift shot from Yui, who was already being pressured by Madness and Zaka. Is that going to cue the push out from Paulson? He's looking like he wants to go with it. Both teams have what a force! What a great play from Zaka, and now 404 and Tyler have to make this one work. They have to get the counter force out, but Dave's so far away.
TLI, he's moved in, he's jumped in, he's trying to create some room for his team now. He is going to be falling to a beautiful little pill from Pawson as he just pops him into the head, essentially. And now Jasmine, they've got that one pick. They've got the 100% Uber advantage. This is their time to shine as they're looking to move all the way in. The sticky trap from Movement, not going to be putting in much work at all now. Froyo looking to contest. Paddy, he's shoved all the way back behind Dave. Dave just pops the Uber in the nick of time. 22 HP on him. And now they're running forward with the Uber charge. We do see Paddy has managed to find Yui in these back lines, but at least Jasmine T are trying to stabilise on this second point as long as possible. But there's a fight that's happening on 2 fronts right now. Sideshow as Free State is tangling with 2 of the Jasmine T members, and I think Froyo have somehow, in the midst of all that, retaken the second.
They have managed to retake the second, but there's really long spawns on Free State and Paddy, so I wouldn't be surprised if Jasmine want to see if they can poke and try and contest this one. Yui looked like he wanted to go for it for a moment there, but instead they're going to be able to hold on to last. The reason that they weren't able to capitalize on that and take it all the way in was because they had 2 players behind in Free State and Paddy doing work behind, and now the Uber has come into last. They're just playing this point there with Banny, who's just going to get on the point and cap it off. They had about a 20% Uber advantage there and made it work to perfection. That is how you play Pocket Scout. Just instantly play the point, you know, trusting in his medic completely to be able to save him there if anything does go wrong. Caps it straight out. 2-0 lead here for the North Americans.
Zaka, he keeps going in for these fast bombs on the mid, jumping all the way on, trying to basically catch out Muma, but really he just plays far too passively for that to even pay off, and his team are quite on the ball with it. But this time it's Paddy jumping all the way onto the back of Paulson. A quick and easy pickup for them. Demoman going down, and look at that. Jasmine, they realise they got no room to work with whatsoever with that one pick. They're going to have to back all the way out.
They certainly are, and now they need to put a lot of spam onto everybody as well without Paulson alive. Gio needs to come out with the goods. Oh, 404 is so weak, but he just couldn't quite get him. Zaka and Gio trade for TLR, but they haven't managed to get 404 down, although he is really weak there. Dave is scurrying away for his life, but there's not much more that they can do. They have nobody who can put long-range damage onto 404. Paulson has only just now got into the fray, and Paddy's in! Paddy is doing ridiculous work here, taking out Madness and Yui, who both really shouldn't have been able to get that fight. And a nice headshot actually to deny Paddy from moving forwards from Paulson, who's putting in work, but the aggressive scouts again getting punished from Jasmine.
Absolutely. Now Froyo looking to take any more room they potentially can. They're in this lobby area. The fight is being taken straight to them as it's actually Free State who just runs straight into the fray to say the least. But I mean, Zaka now, he looks like he wants to try and push Jasmine as well, the entirety of his team. No way! Oh, he's got the force! What?
He just ran in there from the top of PC and was just able to get straight onto 404. I don't know who the scout was that was with 404, but he was napping. I think it might be Banny based on his position. Free State's only just spawned, so Banny, I don't know, he was just doing something else, maybe calling to his team, looking the wrong way, but he snuck past him and Yui gets the force out, and that's given a huge advantage to Jasmine. To be fair to froyotech though, they'll be perfectly happy in this situation. Yeah. Still in control of 2, really difficult push out to make. They have all the position in terms of map territory and height, so this is going to be a really tough one for Gio and Paulson. Here they come.
Moving in with the Uber, they are going to be popping it off straight away. Gio gets in a lot of decent damage. Paddy's just really running rings around the entirety of Jasmine T right now, and they're going to be picking up 1 kill already onto Paulson, and that's going to create so much room for to breathe now for Froyo as they're just moving all the way in. Paddy is destroying men. He's literally melting faces. Zaka's trying to take the fight to them now by leaping in. He's got 1 rocket off, not going to be able to get the second one as Free State has brought him down with no issues whatsoever. And look at this, already on the cap, onto last. A few players respawning for Jasmine now. Uber has been popped by 404 as they're trying to take this any way they possibly can, but it's Dave versus the world. Yui trying his hardest to delay as much as he can, and it's not going to be enough. The scoreline is made to be 3-0 so far to Froyo.
And this is dominant so far from froyotech. There are just so many situations where Jasmine is taking fights that they really can't afford to. And this will be a constant process of adaptation for them as well. They can take away good lessons from this group stage and make sure that they perform in the brackets. But if they go down early in the group stages, they could be looking at a really difficult bracket that they're not able to recover from. And this is not a good start here.
We look at Zaka already straight onto the back of Muma, but he's already in the safe arms of his team. Moving all the way back. No more deaths for that man, at least. And now Jasmine, they've got a player behind them, but do they have the positioning to work off this? They're going to be trying to focus down Free State now, but they're going to be picking up the first kill onto Yui at least, and that's a big powerhouse kill for them. Following up with Zaka. Muma really putting in a lot of work. Paulson does follow it up with a quick little pipe onto Banny at least, and now Paddy might actually die from pushing too far forward. They just can't get the shots onto him. But Jasmine have got no choice but to try and escape if they can with Dave's Uber.
Okay, that mid was a multitude of bad plays from Jasmine. Dave caught a bunch of damage really early on in the mid and went down to 30 health, so he wasn't able to give heals to his team. Nice shot there by Zaka. Not able to give heals to his team, so they push forward. They take too much damage. 2 of their players fall, and yet they still won. What? Cut me off from my monologue, Yui. If you're going to do plays like that, I don't care at all. What is this? God. The sudden turnaround. Just the unbelievable mercurial plays from Jasmine there, because they're so DM reliant. When they hit their shots, like if they just make plays like that, suddenly it's all swung around.
And this is it. This is the opportunity Jasmine were looking for. They're moving across the midpoint. Mooma has managed to find Zaka, but do they feel determined enough to carry on through this midpoint? Yui just picks up the health back. Oh my god, that was clutch. Jesus Lord Almighty, survived on a sliver of HP, and Madness follows up by killing Paddy as well. So Froyo now only 4 players up. They're being forced all the way back to the second. Jasmine moving forward now, seeing if they can take any more frags, any more kills potentially, and yeah, Froyo completely understand they cannot defend that with only 4 players, and they've already got out these turtling off classes.
And this is the benefit of playing this super aggressive style, is that as soon as you get a pick like that onto 404, you can get a huge amount of territory across the map. If you're playing that in a kind of a reserved passive style, the enemy team makes a mistake, you're not able to capitalize that much off of it. You know, you make sure that you limit your own mistakes, but your ability to capitalize is often reduced as a result. But for Jasmine, you know, they make a load of their own, but in comes Yui once again, and he's going to try and take down Paddy. I mean, Paddy was the only threat that he was actually able to go and have a look at. Everybody else positioned really well. He's not able to get the pick in the end, but I think we'll just see him off-class the sniper here and try and set up. This is them attempting to slow things down and just make sure that they get the round on the board, I think, before they continue.
There's still plenty of minutes remaining. 14 minutes and 20 seconds roughly on the clock for Jasmine to really get some rounds at it about. And this time they are in control of the map territory, at least. They are in current control of the second point. Uber charge on both these teams. It's a little bit of a stalemate we're currently seeing. But now we're going to see if Yui can follow it up, getting these sniper picks. Free State is also on sniper. They have spotted him. And Yui is going very, very deep around this corner. Let's see if he can get the pick that they potentially need. He might be able to get eyes onto them. He's really just...
TLR should be able to lock down that area that he's peeking from. And look at the sentry position as well from Banny. If you have a look at him, he's got his sentry in a really interesting position that's going to be able to lock out both the rollout area if they try and do a push from there, but also if they try and push from the shutter door with the sniper, then it's going to get obliterated. TLR went in there and attempted a force. Dave's not going to give that one up at all, but instead he got Yui, so there's the sniper out. What does it matter, really? Yui's just going to come back up again. What is this from Banny? What is this? What? The gimmick's coming out. He's moving it towards the shutter door, and it's just right there. Surely that's going to get taken out by Paulson. All he has to do is put some stickies on it and have someone else peek the door. What is Paulson? What? Okay, it goes down in the end. I thought they were maybe going to get caught out by that. It looked like Dave was the closest one to the sentry. I thought that's a bad way of dropping your med. If he gets focused on by a sentry, you know he's there. But there goes Free State. Yui's turning up. Is he going to be able to get a pick onto anybody slightly more important? You know, not to talk bad about Free State, but you really need a pick onto someone crucial if you're going to be able to open things up and make it slightly better for your team. Yui got a peek in there onto 404. He's taking out the angle. Way. No, froyotech are not going to allow you to make those kind of you know, pushes into them. Yeah. You're taking liberties there.
Still minutes remain, and it looks like Froyo want to move in. They popped off the Uber. TLR going to be leading it. He does get the Uber at least being popped off by Dave, and they're going to see if they can get anything else out of this. Paddy has found Zaka in the end, but Gio follows it up with a quick and easy kill onto the man himself. Now TLR might be trying to work his way from the back. Jasmine T is really just trying to push through this, and they might have actually sandwiched them out. TLR being brought down by Paulson in the end, and now they're trying to basically focus down as many players as they can. I think this is a round, Sideshow, as it's only 404 left alive. No, he's not going to be able to do it. That was incredibly close. One more saw, I think, would have done it for him, but that's going to be a round on the board for Jasmine at least.
It certainly is, and this could be the beginning of them starting to solidify their position and come back into it as well. I mean, once you go 3-0 down, it's really difficult to reverse that momentum, and they've already done really the hardest part. So as long as they don't get wiped on these mids, if they can have another excellent mid, you know, perhaps with TLR making a mistake and going behind into PC again, and it looks like it is Zaka who's posting up on top for the beginning of this one, trying to put out early damage. Banny just jumping over the top of a sticky, but Paulson's not going to quite det it yet. Tyler does go behind into PC, so this could be Jasmine just flooding across the point once again. Paddy takes a lot of damage. Whoa! Tyler goes down as well, and this mid is just not working for them. I don't know why froyotech keep doing it, but Zaka's on his way for as well. He is going to be able to find him. What a turnaround here from Jasmine.
Goodness gracious me. And they are really taking Froyo to Pound Town now. They're already going to be in control of this second point. Dave is still alive and well. He's a happy little chappy with that 80% Uber charge. And look at this, Jasmine really just going to be steamrolling all the way in. We see Free State onto the heavy off class now, sticking up that shutter door. Really, Jasmine playing it quite patiently, quite slowly. I think now is the time to start trying to play the point if you potentially can.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Uber's being popped off. Really, really well played. And it is a very quick round for Jasmine as they are starting to claw their way back.
A lot of teams can trip up pushing process last. You know, when there's a heavy in that door that's the closest to you as you push in. If you get too caught up with him, if you try and focus him down, if he takes attention or even time away from you and you don't play the point effectively, you can very easily lose that, even though you have full ubercharge advantage. Jasmine not falling prey to any of those kind of failures. Oh, but Zach has missed his rollout and hasn't managed to take the health kit there. That is going to hurt them. We'll see if froyotech come up with a different mid as well, because this one with TLR behind has not been working any time they've used it. Jasmine have just countered it expertly, but Tyler's in now. Onto Dave. Dave munches 2 rockets. Down he goes. Free set has fallen as well. And in comes the counter aggression from Zaka, but he's not able to find anybody, and this is going to be a tough ask from Jasmine.
They could still do this. They've got the DM classes up. A lot of people are weak on the side of Froyo. In fact, they're getting the kills with the help of Paulson. And it's only Muma and 404 left alive to try and scurry away back to their last point. 404 is going to have that Uber to work with. Yui's just chasing down Muma. It's the aggression on this man.
Yeah, I know. To chase with 25 health, I mean, fair enough. You know, it doesn't matter whether you're 25 or whether you're 55. If you chase the demo man and he hits a pipe on you, you're dead either way. So to that extent, you know, it doesn't really matter what health he's on. But I think it just shows you that they really want to chase frags, Jasmine. Yeah. They really want to move all their momentum. Look at Free State, though. Nobody was watching PC there for a moment, and he looked like he had an opportunity to come in. It's interesting to see that Zachary is actually hiding close to the choke. Oh, they haven't seen him. Tyler hasn't seen him.
My goodness, great force coming out by TLR there. Really, really well played by Zachary, I should say. And now Froyo, they've been forced to really use that Uber a lot earlier than they were anticipating. Now Davey still does not have it, so Jasmine are not going to be playing off that straight away with the counter aggression, as they do not have an Uber to pop. But
they still look like they wanted to come in off that. You can see they're chomping at the bit. Whenever they know that froyotech's made a mistake, they really want to punish them for it. But, you know, occasionally that can just end up with them being punished instead. Paulson, Sticky's out, just missed. I think he was going for an air pogo there to try and go all the way to choke and Sticky some people off, lock them in. I think he missed it just by hitting the top area of the process mid, and actually 404 escaped through PC anyway, so they just trade an ubercharge advantage for the mid fight. Are they going to dry push here? They seem like the kind of team that will.
Yeah, well, they're trying their hardest right now, moving in. They got a lot of damage. Look at that by Geo. He's putting in so much work. TLR, very weak. Quick and easy frags for the entirety of Jasmine, as they have absolutely destroyed 3 members of Froyo. Paddy, however, with the follow-up, he has brought down a few of them, but still, this aggression by Jasmine working to an absolute T as they are capping up this second point very rapidly. Geo is already on the last. Free State, one of the only men left alive to try and defend it. He's got the 1 kill, but it's not going to be enough. Jasmine has successfully brought it back to at least a draw if they do not continue it any further. But this domination that they're showing, Sideshow, I think they're going all the way. I
don't know whether you caught it there, but Paddy had a huge misplay. He actually went behind and managed to pick up the picks onto Dave and then Yui, so you'd think, like, great, you got 2 picks there. But instead of backing out, he went behind and got those picks, and that allowed 404 and Banny to die, and they lost that Uber advantage that they had. You know, really bad play from him to not be able to identify the situations that he's supposed to be alive in. What was that? That was unreal. Zaka just got destroyed. Great air shot from him. Another shot onto the wall, and Jasmine are attempting to recover. TLR goes down. Geo trades his life for it. The position way better here from froyotech. Dave tries to surf away, and they need to be getting out of this one. Dave is going to get chased down so hard here, Bren.
Yeah, Yui needs to try and buy some time for him right now, trying to basically get him out alive. The entirety of Froyo was pretty much hot on his heels, as Dave, he has managed to get to the safety of his team, but on a very, very minor amount of health.
That's because he was running as fast as a scout there. You could see that, you know, that recent patch that made medics run as fast as the heal target they're attached to literally saved Dave there, because he was speeding away from the rest of the team. And froyotech were hot on pursuit, but they just couldn't catch him, you know? There's nobody who can actually go quicker when you're in confined spaces than a medic attached to a scout.
And now Jasmine in control of this lobby area for now, at least. Froyo holding quite passively on the Spire end of things on the second point, at least. With only 6 minutes, 30 seconds remaining, we are currently at 3-all of this best-of-1 group stage match between Jasmine T and froyotech.
And for a moment, I thought Jasmine were crumbling. When they went 3-0 down, I thought, oh, goodness me, right, okay. You know, they weren't as good as we thought they were. They're going to get rocked in terms of deathmatch, but they've proven me wrong with these last 3 rounds, certainly.
They might get caught out of position here. Madness is so weak. In fact, that's 2 kills for them. Geo did manage to follow it up. Paulson with another one, and there's the Uber now going to be exchanged by both these teams. But can they do anything with it? They're trying to basically keep out 404 if they can. But TLR on the back lines is jumped all the way onto Paulson. They're going to try and bring him down. Indeed, they will, as Zaka is quick to respond. But still, right now, the time is ticking down. It's still 3-all. This time, Jasmine are on the back foot. But really, They're taking the aggression straight to them now, Sideshow, as they're already moving into second.
They are, and Banny's been caught a little bit out. He should be able to escape here with a little bit of help from his team, but Muma's been caught, actually. There goes the Demo Man, and Freestate's been caught down as well. So surely with Madness and Yui both on his tail, he is going to fall, and that is the aggressive scout and the Demo down here. froyotech have to bail so far out. They do not want Froyo to get caught. And this is one of the differences between these two teams, which favors Froyo, is that they recognize really early on when things are going south.
Yeah.
They saw that Muma and Freestate, had fallen there. Instantly get out. Make sure that they don't lose too much.
Paddy in the back lines. He actually did manage to get that pick, and oh my goodness gracious me, Paddy. That was a little bit too sick for my liking. I'm feeling a bit nauseous, but picks up 2 quick little kills onto Yui and the follow-up onto Gio as well. With the help of his team, and now Froyo looking to move in off this. This is really bad for Jasmine, but it looked like they want to fight it, so they do have the Uber, but so does 404 Zaka. Also going to be falling now as well, so they're only 3 players up for Jasmine T. Madness going to be dropping as well. This is not looking great for them, but they're still trying to contest this with the Uber right now, Sideshow, but
I think they knew that they were caught in that situation, and they had to force and try and get a multi out and then just escape. Paulson wasn't quite able to escape, but here comes Yui. Yui and Gio pick up 404 and Freestate, and now they have to play around Dave. Gio, the monster pocket from Australia. What is that pipe from Muma? Muma hits the direct of his life, just flings one across process mid and smacks Dave. He caught that one a little bit. Gio was doing the best he could, but you can't expect him to jump in the way of that one for him. He'll take a bullet for you, but it's a bit harder to catch a pipe like that.
What is this? What's happening in this game? This isn't the TF2 I know. The TF2 I know is people holding on last for 20 minutes. What's going on? I
believe they call it pushing.
Pushing. It's a concept new to me.
It's an unknown concept to all of the European teams, but I'll tell you what, I like it, Bren. I like it. It was worth the wait.
Yeah.
All right, it might not have been worth the wait, but it was a long wait. But it's still a hell of a good game so far. We are tied up 3-3 here with Jasmine in control of the mid, and Freestate looks like he might be a free pick here if he pokes his head out, because Zaka is just above him. And both of these teams just testing each other, and in comes another TLR Uber.
Yeah, moving all the way in with that one. This time 404 is going to be backing up with the rest of his team right now. Jasmine looking to take some room, take some territory if they can. A lot of stickies coming in by Paulson, but Freestate has managed to find Zaka somehow as they were exiting from that midpoint. Now Yui is going to be hot on Freestate's tail, trying to basically see if he can get any damage in. He's very aggressive, and now his team Jasmine, as they look to try and back it up with the frags. Gio finds Paddy, and here we go. This is where it really starts to matter for them as they pick up a second one. A lot of momentum starting to be accrued now by Jasmine as they're moving in. They do still have this huge Uber advantage as well, Sideshow, and they're going to be moving in all the way with it now as Jasmine are popping it straight off Yui, taking it all the way forward. Freestate on that heavy class. Can they do it? Jasmine, they take the lead 4-3 against froyotech with only 2 minutes 30 remaining, and now Froyo, they've got a game ahead of them if they want to try and take it now.
This is an unbelievable comeback here from Jasmine T. From 3-0 down with only 12 minutes remaining. In the last 10 minutes, they have been on a blinder. Unreal performances from the Australian super team, and they're on to their 8th mid of the map. Zaka once again just posted up top, making sure that he's putting down a bit of pressure, getting intelligence, knowing exactly where everybody's going to go. Paddy and TLR exactly in the same place, and this is the same mid again from TLR, just stuck in this PC area. Hops out, but this time manages to get onto the health kit, buys enough time for Paddy to come in and deal with Paulson, and Dave has gone down as well, so this one not looking too hot here. Are they going to be able to get onto 4-4? This is crucial. Is Gio going to be able to get it? Not at all. Muma's pipes again. He throws out a cheeky taunt there. He knows that he just saved that mid for his team, or rather than save, he stopped Jasmine saving it for their team.
Now, this is a difficult situation for Jasmine right now because there's a minute 30 remaining. Froyo definitely in the driving seat right now. They have 100% Uber charge. They've got the player advantage, and they've also got the territory taking up this second point already. We see a bit of contention happening as Paulson, I should say, tries to basically get a little bit of denial off. But ultimately now Jasmine, they have to hold last here. We see the defensive off classes already. Madness on the heavy, Zaka on the engineer, Yui on the sniper. And it's all going to be boiling down to this one single last push by Froyo. Headshots coming in. Uber's being popped off by Froyo now. Can they catch these players of Jasmine off guard? They're currently caught between a rock and a hard place. The sentry gun immediately going to be going down by Muma, but right now they do not have the positioning, or do they? As they pick up a 1, they pick up 2, they pick up the 4th. Dave fallen. Everyone's dead on Jasmine. And with 50 seconds remaining, Froyo draw it up. 4-all in the end. Goodness gracious me.
What is going on here, Bren? This is insanity. This is madness. Oh, that's not madness. That's TLR. But there is madness. That's movement. That's not madness either. But this is madness. This is crazy, though. The two intercontinental teams that we've got, that's madness. The two intercontinental teams that we've got here have just drawn on process 4-4 after the most ridiculous comeback I've seen in a long time from Jasmine to completely shock their opponents, I think. But I've got to pin the blame there at the end on Zaka.
Yeah.
They had all the time in the world to set up that last defense. All the time in the world, honestly. And he was only just building a level 1 sentry as the push came in. That's just inexcusable. If your team calls for an engineer or the strat requires an engineer, you have to be on it because you need it to be level 3 or at least level 2 in order to be in that situation. They were able to spam it down so quickly and there was nobody able to rotate. The positioning was a bit odd from them as well. I don't think last holes are really their strength. They prefer to be in the driving seat and pushing, but after they lost that mid, I mean, froyo came back with determination because they had pretty much one opportunity to tie that one up and they managed to do it. So that was some unreal performances there from both teams, I think.
Yeah,
I mean, how does that affect how you think of the teams overall compared to the competition? We saw froyotech tie with Full Tilt. Now we've seen froyotech tie with Jasmine. Are all the teams... We said it'd be close, Bren. We said it'd be close. We didn't think every team would be exactly on the same level.
I made the comment saying this I-Series is going to be insane, and I genuinely think it is. And when people have asked me before, what's my predictions, what's going to be the top 4 that you think, I've said time and time again, my honest opinion is it's going to be so incredibly close between these teams, and it's definitely being proven today. I am really, really curious now to see what our analysts have to say about that game as we're going to head on back over to them.
See, that's why we have an analyst desk, because Bren is going to just sandbag his prediction. It's going to be really close. I'm not going to pick any team. That's why we're in a job right now, CX. Thank you, Bren. Thank you. So we are back here. And once again, I've come in on the analyst desk when I didn't really see most of that game. I was eating a delicious Subway sandwich. Other sandwiches are available. But CX, recap the story of the game real quick before we get the logs up.
It was a bit crazy. froyotech looked dominant to begin with. Their mids were really good. They followed it up well. Clumsy last holds from Jasmine T really allowed Freya to capitalise off this as well. A bad push out for one of those rounds and a TLR back cap. And then all of a sudden, Muma keeps botching his rollouts. He's not just slow, he's just really, really late. Later than you, Admirable. And it allows Jasmine T to build up ahead of steam. And they don't just equalise it, they get 3 rounds back, take the lead, and then they throw it at the end. One final round, one shot for froyotech, and as we mentioned it before in the ESA Grand Finals, they don't give up, they keep going. And froyotech now, yet to win a game at LAN, yet to lose a game at LAN.
Let's see some logs. WARHURYEAH, your thoughts?
I haven't seen that much choking since I watched Tina Takes 10 Inches. Please, it's got a fantastic plot to it. It's a romantic comedy.
I'm joking now.
Anyway, it was very, very back and forth, obviously. Paddy was playing very, 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 very well. On the first map, and I think it is just the map, on this map, he had a lot more opportunities to go forward. He got so many good bombs and easy bombs on the medics. It was very good. He used to get maybe 2, 3 frags sometimes. So overall, it's a massive change in performance for him. So I was very, very, very impressed by that. Only thing that was a little bit disappointed with, I would say, is TLR. He did run shotgun through some portions of the map. I think he run gunboats on mids from what I saw, and then he had shotgun outside of that. And I just felt that it wasn't really working so much. He didn't really have that much survivability. I think I recall one push when they tried to go to mid. He was Ubered, he did a skip jump. Because he was quite low in health on the initial Uber flash, when he jumped over, didn't take any more additional damage, but he tried to do a skip jump, and he just took so much damage because he has no gunboats. So I really do feel that it's quite a contributing factor. And we were talking about it before the game about Jasmine T's aggression. And for the first part, it was really, really disorganised. We saw froyo sort of just pick apart players as soon as they sort of expose themselves alone. And then going on, we just saw a complete opposite where Jasmine were doing the same pretty much onto Froyo. They were just picking apart players that were too forward, but they were actually the ones going forward as well onto that. As soon as they got a frag, I think the caster was saying it, and we were beforehand. As soon as they got a frag, they jumped on that advantage instantly, and it just cleaned up. And it was just so many good. The only problem is that the last hold, I mean, I wasn't really too keen on Yui going sniper, especially as there was only 50 seconds left. Going sniper, and he continued playing sniper even after the initial Uber. To me, just swap out, go something else, just go scout, and just do what you sort of been rocking on. I mean, he did have a few good picks, but I just felt that in that situation, just swapping back to sniper as soon as you miss the initial shot, you're more helpful for your team, because he just got picked off and died, and that was it, another player down.
What was the difference this game for Paddy compared to what we saw in Granary, where he seemed to be getting slammed? He actually ends up here with a positive kill-death ratio.
He seems to play more, rather than being the sacrificial lamb, because the game was a lot more open and back and forth. It seemed like lots of the times he would hide, basically not to give a medic necessarily, but just to catch out Jasmine T's aggression. I feel like he played very well. He adapted very well against the team he's playing, and he really caught out a lot of their aggression. And I think he played that role a lot better than he did in this sort of 1v6.
Was he getting more support this time, or was it still the solo bomb that he was actually finding?
I think it's the
target?
solo bomb. There was a really decent one where he came out of PC. He jumped onto, I think they were handing left side of Spire. He sort of jumped around it, so he really couldn't get anything on him. So he's just sort of wrapped around it, very hard to hit. And he just managed to get a really good bomb off, kill 2 players. So I just think it's just the map in general that sort of fitted his playstyle more.
Like the other narrative we were interested in then pre-game was Yui going to continue to go big? He does end up with a lot of frags here, but quite a lot of deaths as well. What was his game like?
Hard to explain. Not obviously.
Was it a game of 2 halves for him? Like, was he the sort of talisman that started the comeback?
I think because he plays so aggressive. When the aggression works, he looks great. But he also is prone to getting caught out a lot because of how aggressive he is. So it's a lot with Jasmine as a whole as well, a very volatile playstyle. Like when it goes well, it goes really well, but it also means they're really prone to mistakes.
Looking here at Gentleman John's masterpiece. That's interesting there on the red second point, that it was a very dominant frag differential there for Jasmine T. It seems like they were winning pretty much all the engagements there on second, where Froyo never really contesting that.
I don't think I remember too many actual fights.
I think it's very, very dangerous to sort of fight around second because you've got a large amount of choke points on that map where it's quite confined when you're trying to fall back to last. If they take that initial space quite confidently, the thing is that if you aren't in a position to meet that head on, then all that's going to happen is you're going to get caught out by rollout or one or then lobby.
Does anyone else feel like Banny's not playing that great?
Don't you dare say that about the Banster. He pulled out some of the bravest sentry play that I've seen since Uncle Dane.
That was a solid gimmick, he's just been anonymous. Like, his stats aren't bad. He's not, he's not playing awfully, but he's meant to be the talisman. Is he not? Or am I alone here with
looking at the
Banny
stats
bashing?
of the combo players like TLR and Banny, both not coming up with really amazing stats. Mima is actually the guy who seemed to have been teeing up for the frags, but like whenever they were getting mauled, I suppose impact's really how effective Banny can be. If he's like, trying to survive and stay alive for the cleanup, then maybe he's not been allowed to play his game, which is what we wanted him to do.
Yeah, I think it's not really. It just seems that maybe they're not as reliant on the experienced players as initially thought. I think that's what I was sort of really pinning my prediction on, was that I'd expect that Banny and TLR would really carry it, but Muma again, good kill death ratio and played really well, I feel.
Muma was really solid in that game.
Final thoughts then. Have Jasmine T lived up to your expectations? We both got our predictions wrong. Neither team won.
I did say 5-0 to Jasmine T, so they did not live up to my expectations. I'm thoroughly disappointed in them, and I'm taking them all out of my fantasy team that I just changed.
But Paulson will always be in your fantasies.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, okay. CX?
I want to see more, yeah. Really nice to see how Jasmine T played. If they can iron out the mistakes, they can be a real threat in this LAN, and I'd be happy if I was them. Still doubts about froyotech.
I'm still down for froyotech, still undefeated, but that's going to be it from the analyst desk for now. We're going to throw it over to Eckstein, who is interviewing a mystery froyotech player.
your first international LAN. How have things been going for you? Excellent. Oh, yow! What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Slight technical problems, but hey, we're having a great time here. Hope you guys are having a great time. I'm here with Patty from Froyotech. This is his first LAN, his first international LAN as well. But how's things going for you, Patty? How is settling in and just getting things rolling?
Well, I'd say it's pretty good for the most part. Like, I'd say I handled it well. A lot of people were saying things like, you know, you got to get used to your setup and stuff like that. But I felt like the last night we came in, we played for a little bit, and when I came in there, it's just I played pretty well, I'd say. It's like just right off the bat, I got comfortable and stuff. So yeah, I'd say I've settled in quite well for being my first LAN.
Nice. Now, your guys' first game was a 3-3 result. I'm sure that you guys wanted the win, but it still seemed like a strong performance from you. What were some of your thoughts on that first map on Granary?
The first map, well, we played, I'd say we were playing quite well in the first round, obviously with the one, round we won and stuff like that. But it just kind of felt like we kind of faltered off a little bit in what we were doing and lost focus a little bit. And so it just kind of, we lost our level of play that we were at, and I think we could do a lot better than that in the future.
Yeah, we also had a similar issue for you guys, unfortunately, in that second match that we watched, with you guys getting a strong lead and then Jasmine coming back and then you guys actually tying that. Do you think maybe the rhythm issue is stemming from the different format, and that you guys don't necessarily have a halftime switch or just that 30-minute frame and how that's altering how you play?
That's a good question, but I think for the most part we've adjusted to the format fairly well. I'd say it's just, I think right now, we're just getting used to, I think, the environment, being in the LAN and all that stuff. But I think it's all stuff that can be worked on and fixed quite easily. Like, this is a good learning experience.
Excellent. And then what are your thoughts on your first game against Jasmine, the strengths of their team, some of their players, and just getting a feel for the Aussie play style?
The Aussies, I think, are quite aggressive, and I like that a lot. I like aggressive TF2. I'd say that they also have pretty strong DM and stuff as well, from what I can tell. Yui the sniper is very, 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 very good. But yeah, I was impressed with them, actually. I'd say for the most part, yeah.
Nice. And you guys got a couple more matches coming up. You have yet to play Crowns. I believe that is your next game. What are your thoughts on the coaching situation and the fact that they have Cadis as a coach? Do you think that if you guys were capable of getting a coach here with you, that would help your team and what you're capable of doing?
Perhaps. I mean, it really depends on the level of impact, I guess, the coach has on that team and the style and all that stuff. I'd say right now, like, if we added in like another player or coach, it probably wouldn't make much of a difference for us. But I don't know. I mean, Crowns functions with that as their, you know, that's how they play. They have Cadis as the coach, and if it works for them, then that's good, I guess.
And how is it playing with TLR? I mean, he's an old school legend in the scene. You being a slightly newer player coming up, it must be pretty exciting to play with one of the legends.
Oh, most certainly, especially because he is the reason I am playing Soldier in the first place.
Awesome. Well, that's great to hear. You guys, like I mentioned, have another high-intensity match coming up, so I'll let you get going in a second here, but real quick, do you got any shout-outs?
Shout out to Runaway 5. Shout out to 6 Cuties. Shout out to all my boys that I can't name because there's way too many of them. But, yeah, shout out to you guys.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot for joining me, Patty. Best of luck moving forward. And we're going to throw it back to Get a Whale and our panel. Take it away, Mike.
Thank you so much, Eckstein. Back on the desk, we're welcoming. What's going on over here?
Oh, I'm just trying to set him up.
You guys up or what?
He's too busy fiending on that Twitch chat.
Yeah. He's on the Twitch chat. You know, never use Twitch chat is the motto I go by.
I used to have hair before I did.
Yeah, well, that was an interesting point, though, out of Patty, that he's playing Soldier because of TLR, and now he's playing on a team with him. That's kind of cool, right?
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable to think. It was about 4 years back that TLR was last year at kicking at i56.
He's like i52.
Yeah, i52, who's at playing with Mix-Up, but it's been a while. It's been a couple years. It's been out of the scene a while. It's just cool to think that the game's been going that long that you could be playing on a team with one of your idols, the man, Tyler. Well, anyway, we have a pretty good idea now, I guess, of what to expect, and we got more Jasmine coming up. It's Jasmine versus Crowns. TurboTabs, you just sat down on the desk. Tell me something about Jasmine Crowns. I mean, what are you expecting out of this? Jasmine are kind of getting put through the ringer.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the biggest test for them. Because
bigger than Froyo?
Bigger than Froyo. Because they just play such different styles. The Jasmine are just kind of up in your face, throw yourself in there. You know, let's just get DMing into it. And Crowns they're like a brick wall. They like to slow down the game. You know, a lot of people just get frustrated playing that. And I'm not sure how Jasmine will react to playing a team like Crowns that just play at such a slow pace.
What do you think, War? What are we going to see here? Give it an adjective. You know, let's get an analogy here. Crowns and Jasmine.
I've been told that I can't give them any more because they all involve questionable movies not many people have seen.
Well, the police are on the way. We'll get rid of you soon.
Oh.
It's not a big deal.
Not again.
I heard it. But
anyway,
I mean, what do you think? If you're from Jasmine's perspective, you just had to take on Froyo. There was some pressure there. Now you got Crowns, who are absolutely one of the favorites to win the tournament.
The thing is that even though Crowns are very predictable, you know exactly what their game plan is, if there is one, because it seems like the reason why they never push is because they don't have one. But because it's just so slow, and I guess to pick a nice word, maybe methodical, they do sort of hold the same positions. It is all quite routine. And I kind of feel like that could work into Jasmine's favour if they sort of approach it the right way, if they've done their research as well. Because I do kind of feel like not enough teams in Europe have really sort of properly looked at how Crowns plays and exploit it. Well, trust me, you'll see it a lot. Yep. Stark will go behind 90% of the game. So you already know that that's how he's going to play. That's what he likes to work on. He likes to exploit the flank. So if you know what he's going to do, then you should already have a plan of action to sort of address that issue, deal with it, and then go on from there.
So you're not expecting anything crazy out of Crowns? I mean, they've got to be self-aware enough to know that, you're not expecting some crazy, wacky playbook coming out of them?
I mean, they did have to get a coach to tell them how to play. I mean, that. And
yikes.
I mean, I guess the most creative thing I've seen is Stark pushing out from Gullywash last and putting a teleporter behind full tilt. That didn't work, but... Oh, wait, no, it did. They got Drac behind, and I think he managed to get a drop on cost. So it did work. So unless they're going to do that again, that's a very niche thing to do, though. So...
I just got an item, I think.
What did you get?
Well, we're getting ready to... the players, I believe, are joining up on the server, and we're getting ready to kick it over to new casters as well. We've got Mr. Dreamboat and Mr. Max. Does it get a bit tiring? I mean, you've played at LAN War. I mean, do you start to get exhausted, especially when there are delays and stuff like that? I mean, we could talk about it. It's a real thing.
You would not... Oh, goodness, it's so annoying.
Yeah.
The most annoying thing and the most, frustrating thing is when you have all 6 and you're waiting for the other team.
You're waiting, yeah.
Because, you're there, you've sort of sat down with your team, coming up with a small plan, what you need to go through, and then, someone on the other team has probably gone for a shit for the 4th time in 10 minutes. It's one, sat your diet, you're an esport professional now. You could easily make a living from the scraps of money that we give you. But yeah, when it hits, when it's the delays, when you're waiting for people to eat and all that lot, it really does take its toll. I mean, you won't see it today, but I think over maybe tomorrow, the next day, it's really, really going to hit. Yeah. Everybody will be fighting, and I feel that, especially Crowns, because they do have quite a few players that have been in this situation many times during the Springlands as well, when TFT do have tournaments.
Yep.
They will try and get into that upper bracket, so then they can play the first first round, and then just chill.
Yeah. Something to keep an eye on anyway. It is a real thing. I mean, I had a couple members of Froyo who came up to me, Free State and someone else, and it was like they wanted to fight. They were just they were anxious. They wanted to get going, and it can mess with your mindset. I think they wanted to fight me, but I'm bigger than Free State. It's not. I wasn't too worried.
Got better reach and everything.
He's a nice guy, but I think I could take him. Waiting for status here on the match coming up. Like I say, it is going to be Jasmine versus... what did I say? Jasmine versus Spanked?
Crowns.
Crowns. It was the subway. The subway was messing with my mind. You know what I mean?
I heard there were... There.
What's that?
You got the cards there.
Yeah, this doesn't say anything. Whoever was sitting here before me was writing just strange. This doesn't look like English to me.
Looks like love letters
Irish,
from
maybe.
Yeah, love letters from Admirable.
Yeah, I don't know if they speak English in his country or not, or if it's a different form of English.
Yeah, it does look like chicken scratch.
Unclear to me.
He just draws potatoes and puts love hearts around them.
If we want to tell people who we're looking for to perform in this one, for example, from Crowns, we're more interested. We've just seen a lot of Jasmine. Stars. MVPs. Well, actually, tell you what, let's do something more interesting. Let's look at the updated group standings, and that'll give us more of an idea of where we're sitting as of right now. On this, right in front of these lovely sparkles. Crowns, of course, 2-0. Now, I mean, these are the group stages. It's nice to be up there, but it's only 2 matches so far.
Yeah, and just to sugarcoat, well, make it, bring them back down to earth a bit. There were some easier matches, and even those matches were surprisingly close. Like, they played comfortably spanked. I think comfortably spanked brought them to a 4-3.
3-2.
Was it 3-2? Mm-hmm. It was very, very close of a match.
Yep.
But they did kind of pick it up in the next game. I think it was just a clean 5-0 against NX. So you can see maybe he just takes that to one match at the beginning of the day to just warm up and get into that mindset, get into the flow of things. But you know, they're starting off slow with the easier teams, and it's picking its way up as the day goes on.
Yeah, you see Jasmine T there in second place, tied with Full Tilt at 500. We're calling it. Compared to, I mean, I was watching those matches. I mean, it feels to me like we've got a tournament on our hands all of a sudden. We had, you know, the question marks around some of the teams, but seeing Jasmine T come back in such a strong way was encouraging. But like we said, they've got a bigger challenge in front of them now against Crowns, and we'll see how they handle it.
Yeah, I was very just unsure. Everybody was unsure, really. We were just asking about. It's like, so how do you think Jasmine team are going to do? And everyone was just like,
well, nobody knew.
We just have no idea.
Unknown quantity.
Unknown quantity. The drinking game. Take every time unknown quantity is said. I don't know if it's a drink or a sip or what. You might end up.
Either way, you're going to die.
All night is young. Pardon, what's that? Well, anyway, we are still preparing here. Let's talk about MVPs, as I mentioned. If we're looking at the Crowns team, who's going to go huge if we have to use our psychic powers here? Start with you, War. Who are you thinking?
It'll be either Stark, although that's a given.
Yep.
I feel he really doesn't. I can't remember the last time he's had a bad game, so I'd say Captain, to be honest.
Yeah.
He is. Those two are probably like their best players by like a mile, and Captain is just so solid.
Yep.
His DM's insane, and is also his decision making in Ubers and during the post Uber fight, which is very, very important to have. I feel like probably Captain will, if he steps up like he pretty much always does. I kind of don't think Jasmine T have a chance.
Yeah, you, Turbo.
I think MVP on Jasmine. I think I'm all looking about Huey. Huey was kind of bringing in these huge moments that just kind of, it's these moments that kind of turn the morale for the team as well. Once you get these like huge, massive plays happening in the game, it just brings everyone else like, maybe we can do this. And you get another round, you're like, okay, and then you get another round, and it just like sparks this entire thing. And then the other team is in counteracting with that as well. Their morale is just completely like shattering, and it all starts off with just these huge plays that can come out of the player. And I think Huey's the one to look out for that.
It can snowball, and you come into a tournament, you come into a LAN thinking you have these favored players that you think will excel based on their stats and whatnot, but when you actually get here, you have these surprise stars or these people that come forward and go really huge kind of out of nowhere and can really make things happen. And so certainly we've seen awesome things out of Yui, and we'll see what they put together here. Are we closer to a match? We have the server. We're giving it to the teams.
Oh boy,
Soon we can see more TF2.
What
do you think of that?
I think this is the match that I'm most excited to see, because it's just really, like I said, it's just the huge test for them, and it's just the clash of play styles as well. I just want to see what happens if an unstoppable force meets an immovable object.
Yeah. That's a physics question that, I think we're still sort of trying to solve. Any input on that, War?
I'm not good at anything, so I can't comment on the physics.
All right.
However, I think this is going to sort of bring us closer to like finding out how this land's going to go. If Crowns perform really well and stomp them, I think then they will definitely put themselves as the clear favourites. I think if they sort of struggle, then it's still open to anyone. And I also feel like, depending on, obviously, on Jasmine's side as well, is again going to sort of, you'll then be able to sort of place all the other teams because everyone's kind of played everyone now. You've all seen how they've played, how they match up to each other, so it'll be a lot easier to find out, you know, the expectations, who's actually stepping up, where and when, and being able to make better predictions.
Yeah, it's coming.
I do want to keep a tiny little asterisk, though, because keep in mind, this is the group stage, and a lot of teams are going to be holding back the strats just a little bit.
There are no strats.
I'm told there are no strats.
I've heard, I've been assured that some teams are like, oh, we've got pocket strats. I'm sure maybe they're just, you know, tooting their own horns and whatnot, and want to just make me feel secure in their victories or whatnot, or make it seem like they have a plan going into this. But I don't think everyone's going to show their cards, you know, in the group stages. That's all.
I think
I've
it's
got
very
another item.
Wow, nice. Is it a bat burner?
Well,
we'll find out. Unboxing live
after this break.
Yeah, I don't really agree with that because it's very, very sort of difficult to be able to do that. Like, you don't have the opportunity really to create set plays or strats apart from if you're defending or pushing last. So that would be maybe the only way. Doing it on middles is a bit too risky because for some part, quite a few of the mid fights on some maps are kind of like a dice roll. It really does depend. I mean, one air shot can literally just change the tide of how the mid goes.
You still have to execute.
Yeah, if you miss like an air shot and someone jumping, like it's going to happen most of the time anyway, but that soldier then gets on your medic and then that's it, you've got no heals.
It's nice to have plans, but it can
it
doesn't always
they'll
work
definitely
out.
have sort of like plans and like maybe a base structure, but I feel like being able to sort of execute strategies, there's just so many variables that can sort of completely throw it all off that is very, very hard to do.
Keep in mind that losing isn't like the complete worst thing that could happen in the group stages, because you're going to learn a lot more from your losses than you are your wins. So the teams are going to look back on these games, look back at the SDVs, look at the things that they've done wrong, how they can improve things as well. Maybe this is probably the best time for teams to lose at this point in the tournament.
Maybe. Well, I was going to mention that, I mean, we're making our way through the group stages, and each team is only playing 5 games. This is going to be the 3rd one for each of these teams, which means we're kind of getting there, and we're starting to get to the point where you start to think about seeding. Hello? Can you hear me?
My mic has gone dead.
Hello? Hello? You start to think about seeding. We can't hear ourselves anymore, but we can still talk.
Yes.
Can we?
But you start
Can
to
they
think
still
about
hear us?
seeding. It's an important thing, isn't it? And it's going to affect how the rest of your weekend's going to go.
Exactly.
Exactly, yes.
Are we still on? Do we still have sound?
Yeah.
I'll see in a minute when Twitch
you see, the
catches
problem
up
is
to us.
These headphones are so good as well that we have to kind of raise our voices to hear each other because it just blocks out all the sound. So
It'd be fantastic if we could find out.
Yeah.
It's just we're just hyped. That's all. We're getting a bit more hyped as the game draws closer. And we're just like, are you ready? Are you ready, Gary? Wow.
I'm very ready. I can feel the blood flowing through my body. That is normally happening, but it's accelerating.
They
it's
can hear us.
Thicker.
They said
my
all
blood
right,
pressure.
I'm confident now.
Chat can hear us.
That's
it's all
great.
fine.
That's
Don't
all
worry
that
about
matters.
it.
Who
They're
cares
just letting
about
us
A lot of
David
people
Ryan
asking
ever
for
wins?
dabs.
Yeah.
Don't do it, though. Please, don't do it.
Last time I tried it, I just ended up knocking myself out. It really wasn't good. But yeah.
This is a great situation right now.
I don't know what we were talking about anymore. Because I've been
Seeding.
completely thrown off.
Seeding.
God, I'm sweating now. Oh.
Well, listen, we'll straighten this out. Don't worry about our issues. The players are all fine. We have casters that are all fine. They're getting ready to do this. Waiting for status on the server. We've got TF2 coming up, we promise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know, as we get closer now to the group stages being over, you know, teams start to get a better idea of where they're going to be sitting, and you start to get an idea of what's your Saturday going to be like, what kind of chances you're going to have. We've kind of stretched the issue out now. I'm hearing myself in the background.
Yeah, I know. I could hear you more clearly in the TV in the back.
Yes.
And, it's taking all of my willpower to be like, just focus on what he's saying. Focus. I'm like trying to read lips.
Yeah. I'm going to pretend like I heard everything that you guys just said. So I'm just going to sit back, nod in agreement, and that's the end of my sentence.
Crowns versus Jasmine T is coming up right here on teamfortress.tv. We're flying solo. We're hanging out. How are you doing, Twitch chat? you have predictions about this upcoming match? Why don't you tell us? Who do you think is going to win?
We can hear you, Twitch chat.
Here are your options. Jasmine T on one side, possibly in blue, maybe in red. On the other side, Crowns. Crowns, Jasmine T, red and blue team. We know that much. It's going to be 6 players aside.
Tell them to do a vote.
They're going to have classes.
Yeah.
1 of 9. So there might be a spy. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah.
Give us your predictions.
There could be a lot of things. This person in chat says, I think Crowns is going to win. That's there's a prediction. Yep. And that's a real prediction that I truly read off the screen, I promise.
A very safe prediction as well. I think a majority of people predict that Crowns are going to.
Now, what if you're from Australia, though?
I never really thought
Jasmine
about that.
T are representing you.
Yeah.
They might be your cousin. Maybe you're related to them in some distant way. In the same way that I'm related to all the Canadian viewers here. Dreamboat, our caster, probably a cousin of mine. And that's just sort of the science of biology.
Yeah. Well, if we were in Coventry, there would probably be an incredibly high percentage that you would be related to pretty much anyone.
Okay. Wow. WARHURYEAH, still here.
Yeah. I was kind of...
Despite my best interests.
So we have people down in front of us trying to solve our audio issues.
Yeah.
We're trying to use our ears. It's 2016 and we're using our ears to hear each other. Can you believe that?
I know.
This is disgusting.
We're fighting against the I've
boy,
got the miracle of I can hear again.
Oh boy.
Brilliant.
Blessed, hear my own
be
voice.
The gods.
Hear my own voice again.
I'm now erect.
All right.
Woo.
What's the status?
I just heard a medic die. That is unfortunate.
It was the medic who did the audio issues.
We have a server and we're getting ready.
All right.
We apologize for this issue that we've just encountered.
We did nothing wrong.
Things happen. People are here to watch the TF2 anyway, though, right?
Yeah.
Not to watch us.
Yeah.
Maybe they're here to watch us.
I felt so helpless.
In which case, I say, get a life.
I felt so hopeless, just like a fish flapping out of water. I was like, just struggling to breathe for air in that moment. But I wanted to go back. There was a point I did think about a while back. It was Jasmine T. Not too long ago, when you were touching upon like the representatives for Australia, I thought it would be interesting, like, to ask this question. Would you say Jasmine T is a better Australian team that was sent than Immunity?
Ooh, there's a question.
Oh, I was not expecting that question. Oh,
have we seen enough of them yet is the real question. Have we seen enough of them to know?
Definitely not, because Immunity attended 2 LANs in the majority of their team.
Yeah,
there was
and they very nearly made like finals or better.
Yeah, well, they finished 4th both time.
Yeah, yeah. They came close.
Yeah, they
almost took Mix-Up down.
Yeah, that was that was an insane game. You should check that out on twitch.tv/WARHURYEAH. I think it's one of my bots.
Is that where it is?
No, but yeah, it's very, very too soon. Like to really say, arguably some of the scenes have sort of dipped down in quality in comparison as well. However, the same thing with Immunity. It is still an incredible feat to be able to come over here and do what they are able to do. As arguably and historically, Australia have always had a weaker scene compared to NA and EU. So being able to come here and sort of really sort of make your mark on and a really solid impression on all the top competition is again very, very good.
Well, to take the NA champions defending and the 2-time defending world champions, if you're counting the team name, not necessarily the roster, I mean that's a hell of a feat. I think it's worth something, isn't it? Even though it's group stages.
Yeah, they still got the one player from the pre.
Yeah, but he was the mastermind, the puppet master, pulling all the strings.
He sort of picks and chooses like the players that he wants on his team, and
like a fantasy draft.
Yeah,
yeah.
He just sits there in his chair, slouching.
Sits there in his ivory tower.
Yeah, just saying, it's like, I want you to come to my team now. Whatever your team's currently offering you, I'll give you a percentage cut of my subscriber base money.
Yeah, I've seen it. You get a letter signed in blood. And
you've got to sing.
It's really amazing.
As part of your audition, you have to sing a Coheed and Cambria song.
Well, I would fail right away. I mean, it's really something to see. You guys have got to see this letter that he sends out. It's really something else. We'll try to get one for the next intermission, perhaps. We don't have any here. This is just a regular pen. It might look like... Anyway.
This one's got my blood in it.
We are getting ready to kick it over to you guys, we promise. Would we lie to you? Do we look like liars?
We never, ever lie. Everything's right on time.
Twitch chat are discovering all the new emotes that they haven't tried. For example, they're just sort of going through the list and saying to themselves, have I used this one or not?
I like it, though.
And life is short. You got to try everything once, right?
I do feel like K-Kona is an underrated Twitch chat emote. It's personally one of my favorites.
Okay.
It really does sort of express how I feel 90% of the time, which is incredibly neutral.
Okay.
I like Ninja Troll.
Okay.
It looks like Nation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get a lull. Speaking of lulls. Yeah. WARHURYEAH Cat, that's one.
WARHURYEAH Pipe.
So Team Fortress 2 is coming up.
Again, we wouldn't lie to our viewers to say that there is a delay. There would never be such a thing. If there was, we would tell you.
What was the map coming up that they're going to be playing on anyway? Does anyone know?
Vanguard. Vanguard.
Vanguard. my favourite.
Now that's
competitive
interesting
map.
because I've seen the map list.
Oh, gorge.
They've pulled a whole new map into the competitive environment just for this game.
I bet you what Twitch chat's going to do now, they're going to call out their own funny map names of maps that it would never be.
Wacky Races.
And it's going to be really funny.
Oh, I can't wait for the CP Orange X.
We're told the server's up. How many players we got?
My favourite TF2 map is
going?
D-Dust 2.
We have nothing. The map is product.
Oh, that changes a lot.
Or as some people say, product.
That changes quite substantially how this game is going to go.
In what sense?
Okay.
Because you can't beat a Team 5-0 on product.
Yeah, and another aspect of it as well, it's a lot harder to play that passive stance that Crowns like to do.
It's true. You have to get onto there.
Yeah. I mean, you're literally just taking it turns to just completely focusing on attack and completely focusing on defense. And this really screws with just how Crowns like to play.
The only
to give them some credit, though, I've heard that they have been trying constantly scrimming on the map, getting improved onto it, so it's not just the easy like silver bullet to take out Crowns anymore.
Well, you guys are talking about the flank work and whatnot as well. There's not really a flank on product in the same sense as there is on a 5CP. A little bit, but not really.
The problem is, though, that if you take control of a flank, then that is it for the other team, pretty much.
Right.
You are on a timer, because it's very, very... If you fall back, like the people that are on the point will just take the point and then press you even more, and then you're going to be very, very constricted into one section of the map. So it would either be on your on Cliff or the health pack on the right side. So that is actually something that's like going to be crucial. Froyotech last year, we saw from Blaze and Clockwork how they'd always do the same thing, where they would be able to just break open the flank. Clockwork would go in through main, and Blaze would then just go in before him. So Blaze goes in, just causes like a load of damage, dies. Clockwork just gets a 6-man, and then they've won another Rise series.
And also another thing as well, when I think Stark is not quite as effective on this map when it comes to getting behind them, because before he could kind of threaten you with just the objective of just making that back cap and whatnot, and this would force teams, while otherwise if you get behind on product, you can only really just use the map positional advantage and try and just attack them from different sides.
You're not going to get a long life necessarily doing that.
Yeah. I feel like as well, if Starks then like maybe focuses that too much, it's not really good for a scout to get behind.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to cause that much of a threat. Whereas a roamer, because of like the central house and how that's positioned, there's so many angles that you can just surprise a team from when you jump in that it's going to be very, very difficult for them to really get a proper read on it.
And plus it's very vital for just travelling around the map as well. It just takes way too long for a scout to like say chase up a sniper over on that the China.
Yeah, and what I'm thinking as well when I think product is, are we going to see a lot of off-classing? We're going to have a lot of sniper v sniper. We've seen a lot of good sniping out of Jasmine already here on the stream.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's I think that's sort of an issue with Crowns. Like usually teams have like this constant like sniper that likes to just take over the game. So full tilt have Flash. Comfortably Spanked have Denia. Who have Crowns got? They've got Stark is pretty talented on sniper, to be honest, but he's not really one that likes to take over the game. He just kind of does it very effectively. He does it like with surprisingly like in surprise situations. It feels like he doesn't like to play on sniper.
He won't really sort of like, as I said, take control of the game. He's like really good if there's sort of like a situation where they need to get a pick. But on Viaduct, you are expected a lot more of that, because just getting one pick on like even on the medic isn't necessarily a huge changer.
Yeah, because you've always basically, if you're losing too much, you get an automatic advantage and the respawn advantage. It's kind of like a gimme for losing and playing it so, which is kind of gives a foot back for these against teams like Crowns who might just like try and slowly grind against you as the time goes on.
Yeah, it's going to be. I would hope that and to see Yui play sniper. I mean, he did have quite a few good moments in the last game against Froyo. So if that is going to happen, it would be. It's going to sort of maybe force Crowns out of their comfort zone because they're going to have to be very aggressive if Yui's going to be playing well. If he's hitting form, it's going to be that case where, like for example, if Flippy when he played sniper, there would just be points when you just give up. Because you know as soon as you jump, it wouldn't be like a body shot. When you jump and you just get completely slammed at like the fastest point of your jump where you think it's almost impossible, and then you just get taken out. You just think, no point.
The end.
I'm done. There is no fighting against it. If a sniper is like hitting on point, there is unfortunately no counter to it.
Even if he's not doing super well in that sense, he's kind of, everyone's like playing around him because you're not trying to move on to a next objective. You're just like playing around your sniper. He's going to bait people in because they want to get on top of that filthy sniper.
You have to break a hold that is purpose built for just this objective, and that's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, he's like he's just the juicy little worm to get everybody into that hook for when they can't even. So even if they do kill the sniper, you're just going to lose probably the majority of your team anyway, and that's just playing even further into the game plan as well. It works so seamlessly on Product.
So we're looking for a juicy little worm on this Product map. No, it will be interesting to see, and I mean, it sounds like an obvious thing to say, but yeah, if somebody can get a sniper, either side can get a sniper up and really well protected, it can go a long way. Product is a map I always love to see in competitive because we always tend to see very close games. Even if the teams have a bit of a skill disparity, even if there's one team that's maybe seems dominant coming in, we've had a lot of very close finishes on Product over the years. I mean, it's a stock map other than it's been updated and changed and whatnot, but Viaduct essentially a stock map. I like it. Close finishes.
It's also like very unforgiving. If there's ever a situation where you're trying to sort of retake the middle point and something goes wrong, like your medic drops or something, like you are limited on the amount of chances that you get, and before you know it, that time is just sort of vanished, and then before you know it, you're then trying to push against like a team that's got like a full Uber advantage, and you've only got like 20 seconds left on the point. So it is very, very sort of difficult to really sort of really make your mark, and if something goes wrong, it's going to go horribly wrong. Like if you're pushing to last on a 5 CP, you're the team that's doing that, and you mess up, it's not going to be like an instant sort of there is obviously a few rare occasions where it go from last to last, but it'll be very, very sort of difficult to do. You can salvage the situation, whereas this one, it's difficult.
It's a change of pace in the tournament, really.
But we make it sound so bad for Crowns, like, oh god, they're just everything's against them. But they do have like some neat little tricks here and there on this map in particular. Like I know they like to run pyro to like counteract some of these forwards holes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so usually a tactic like a team likes to carry out is like, well, if we've got the advantage, why don't we just hold close to their doors, and then they will have to pop there, and by the time we just kite them all the way back to our midpoint, then we can just kill them. But to prevent this, like Crowns just start using Happy Call on Pyro, and he will just because you have to segregate your team very thinly across the map because it is somewhat of a big map, quite wide Product. So yeah, they'll run the Pyro and they'll almost get these like cheeky little reflect kills that can just almost even I've seen sometimes kill the medic. And because you just don't expect it. So hopefully, if they've been doing their homework though, Jasmine T, they do run this quite commonly though, so they might be able to expect it. But if they don't expect it, I think we're going to see some unique pyro action.
We'll have to dust off the what's going on over there?
Someone's dabbing.
Oh, okay.
And I saw it.
What is that?
Impressed.
Maybe we'll have to dust off the pyro award over there. Whoever has it, can we dust off the? We used to have this pyro award. That's not true.
Yeah.
We are still waiting for a status here on the teams. I believe at least one of the teams are ready to go here, and we're waiting for both to be set. Why are you thumbs-upping a dab? I know that Twitch chat loves dabs, but I mean, you're a broadcaster, War.
You're a professional.
I am
on?
partial to a dab.
Are you feeling okay?
Yeah.
I do like a bit of a dab.
Okay.
No, you shouldn't dab, not even once.
I like watching people dab.
It's a gateway drug, as we all know.
I'll never dabble in the dabs myself.
Oh boy. Can they start the match?
I can't do it.
We were doing so well. We steered back to the game, and we were talking about the game for a bit, and now we've gone back to the memes.
I've got to balance it out. You can't have insightful analysis like all the time, you know. I've got to throw my...
Sometimes you can. Sometimes you can.
No, not for me.
I just feel like we're playing mum and dad here. He's like, the dad is like letting them, oh yeah, you eat as much junk food as you want. I'm like, no, they must have a balanced TF2 breakfast.
Yeah, it's my balanced analyst diet.
If you're going to dab, you have to also give us predictions on the rest of the day. And do 10 push-ups.
But we won.
Pledge ups.
6.
I can't.
Okay. I thought you were trying to bargain that you would do 1 push-up.
Definitely not. That would be a struggle in itself.
Okay. Maybe that's something we can wait for on Saturday or even Sunday. The WARHURYEAH push-up. I mean, this table's about the same. How tall are you? This is the same size you could get on this table.
Let's put it this way.
Sorry.
I embarrass myself on a daily occasion.
Okay.
And
intentionally?
No.
No.
Just by being.
Okay.
And
people were thinking it.
I don't want to do that anymore. I'm not some joke.
All right.
I'm a serious man.
He's not a joke, guys.
Well,
Twitch chat's still saying dab. I don't know if this is a glitch, but it seems like they're still saying it.
Well,
no, you're lying.
They know what they want.
Can we get on the phone with Twitch John and see if there's something going on? Because they're still saying dab over and over again. It seems absurd to me.
They're trying to reach out to War.
We've got a tournament going on here.
He knows they know that he knows that he's looking at the chat ferociously, and he's like, I want you guys to love me. I will do anything.
I'm getting with
shout out hard enough.
I'm sort of going, please love me, chat. Please. I'll do anything. I'll spout the best memes. Harambe.
You're pathetic. You're pathetic.
I'm sorry.
We're gonna get someone new. Is there some?
Okay.
We can get someone from the crowd, maybe. Is Bite around?
Okay. If we can't get the press ups, then can we get at least the predictions?
Did they call them press ups here? Am I saying the wrong word?
I call them push ups.
So sorry.
Oh, press ups. So
okay.
Well.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Prediction on what?
Next
game.
Map, yeah.
Oh. 3-2 to Crowns.
Yeah.
I reckon it will go the full distance. I reckon it. A part of me actually thinks it's going to be so close. So close.
I think it's going to be. Yeah, it's going to be close, but I think it's going to go the other way. I think Jasmine T are going to get it. It's going to be 3-2. Jasmine
really?
T.
I'm just going to leave it at that. I mean, I know I'm supposed to be the tiebreaker, but I think it's going to be close. And I think, like you said, this is one of the more interesting matches to see, just mostly because of the map. If this was Jasmine and Crowns on, process or something like that, it would almost be a little different. You know what I'm saying? But where it's on product, I'm expecting a closer finish.
Yeah.
Maybe it won't be. I don't know. We don't know. The point is, it hasn't been played yet, and that's why we don't know. And that's just that's time. That's basically a time. Time is a concept.
Well,
that's it. Good night, everybody.
I know. I feel.
Well, yep. Let's wrap it up. We've been.
We're told they have PC issues. And PC, I hear somebody calling for medic.
I'm hearing people you run around.
It might be David the Win. I don't know. I'm not sure.
A scout is building Uber. Are we sure they haven't started?
It's the radio cast.
Yeah.
There's a lot of.
Sounds like there are a lot of explosive classes in this match.
I don't know if they are getting the same that we are.
Soldiers confirmed in this game.
The administrator wants someone to know that the point is being captured.
That's a critical part of the Team Fortress 2. I'm pretty sure we can roll the tutorial now to remind people as to the objective of the game.
Have you seen that little video, video tutorial how to watch
Bren.
comp? Yeah, it's very.
Yeah, it's good.
It's very good. Yeah, I was incredibly impressed.
I can't really trust his insight though. He's not really been around for at all.
No, they're just using him for his voice.
That's it.
That sexy, silky voice.
There's nothing wrong with mine.
Tell you what. We're going to go to a break.
Never.
We're having,
Oh, no.
we're having computer problems.
I can hear Twitch chat from here. No, no, it's not the break again. No,
I-
Daddy, no.
We didn't do
hurts,
it.
it
Wait.
hurts.
We didn't do it.
It's
not us.
I50, wait, again.
If you're going to blame someone, blame computers. Okay? You hear me? We're going to go to a break. We're going to get the PC issues sorted out, and when we come on back before too long, we're going to have Jasmine Tea and Crowns on product. Get up and get a drink, get some food, get a snack, get up, stretch your legs, and come on back to teamfortress.tv. Don't go anywhere.